This meeting is now called to order. Thank you all for coming. I feel like there's a lot of eyes on us. Thank you for coming on a Tuesday. You've made it to February 3rd. We're going to start with roll call.
Okay, Councilmember Brandon Whedon. Councilmember Angela Jefferson.
Present.
Councilmember Joan Cathy.
Present.
Councilmember Eileen Swarthout.
She is excused.
Councilmember Megan Sullivan.
Present.
Councilmember Peter Agabe.
Present.
Councilmember Kelly Von Holtz.
She is excused.
And Mayor Lietta Dahlhoff.
I'm here physically. Thank you all. I'm going to ask you all to give me a little bit of grace tonight and a lot of patience because I am not 100% today. And also I'm going to ask council when we're calling on each other, if you could give Melody a little bit of a delay to turn your mic on. Okay, we're going to start with our flag. So can you please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you. Does anyone need a seat that does not have a seat? Because maybe you can find someone to swap with you. Except for everyone in the lobby, sorry. But is there anyone that really does need a seat? I just want to take this moment right now. Chief, if you can go look and see if anyone needs a seat, we can open up some seats. Melody, do you have the list for public comment?
So a list is still circulating out there, but right now I have 54 people in person, and I probably have about 15 to 20 online. I have to go through and see who all wants to make public comment.
Thank you, Melody. So we have some options. When I say we, that means council. So we want to hear from everyone. And so normally we allot 3 minutes for each person. Council, do you feel comfortable taking that 3 minutes to 2 minutes for everyone to testify so we get more in? Just like Councilmember Agabe, you had an idea.
Normally, to give everybody a chance to speak and to be fair, if we do 2 minutes, then we can take almost everybody in here. We have the opportunity to talk for 2 minutes.
Does everyone who wants to testify, do you feel comfortable doing 2 minutes and you can practice talking really, really fast? It's a great opportunity. And then if you are unable to fulfill your 3 minutes that you would normally get, you can submit your responses via email. Does that work for everybody? So we're not losing anything. And so you still are heard and your record is still documented. Does that work for everybody? Are we excited? Okay, so we're going to start and we're going to do 10 in person and 5 online. 10 in person and 5 online. Does that work for everybody?
You want me to do the public comments script?
I think we're ready. We're ready for public comment?
Okay, at this time we will receive public comments. You may comment on items related to city business not scheduled for a public hearing. When I call your name, please come up to the podium, speak into the microphone, and state your name and contact information for the record. Each individual will be limited to 1 2-minute period to make their remarks, regardless of the number of topics they wish to address. Speakers may not comment upon, promote, advocate for, oppose, or speak against a pending initiative, ballot measure, or candidate. All comments shall be directed towards the council as a whole, not to individual council members, and not to members of the audience. Please refrain from disruptive behavior such as booing, hissing, audible comments, cheering, or clapping. And now I'll have our first public comment speaker up. It'll be Rob Rice.
And Melody, just one quick thing. Just to make things more exciting, our timer is not working tonight. So we are going to have Margot, but the challenge is, Margot, they can't see you behind them. So Mr. Rice, if you could talk really fast for 2 minutes, but also look to your left for a yellow piece of paper while you're doing it in 2 minutes, totally fine.
Got it.
And begin, Mr. Rice.
My name is Rob Rice, 1868 State Avenue Northeast, Olympia, Washington. I'm here to speak on behalf of Salish Landing. I am one of the partners in Salish Landing, along with Mike Brewer. And I just wanted to point out that we're local. A lot of these big projects that you see come before you, in our community are developers from out of the region, out of state. They don't spend money here. They don't have their kids in school here. They don't support local activities. Mike and I do. We plan to be around a long time and continue to support those activities. I've been building in Thurston County for 40 years. I've built over 4,000 homes. If my wife lets me, I've got about 750 left to build. Don't know if that'll happen, and most of those are in Tumwater. We are concentrating on the city of Tumwater for the majority of our residential construction at this time. When Mike and I first bought the property, we could have developed that as single-family residential. And I would consider that urban sprawl, to take a 40-plus acre tract of land and go out and build McMansions on it and drill individual wells and put individual septic systems in. And that's not a very efficient use of land and not a very efficient use of utilities. Some of the stuff I've read in opposition to Salish talks about how there's this abundance of land in Tumwater and that we have more land than what we need. And trust me, we don't. If we did, I'd be buying it. I spend a lot of my time looking for land, and there's just not buildable land out there. If you drive down the road, it looks like there's land, but it's got pocket gophers, it's got spotted frogs, it's got wetlands, it's got high groundwater. There's all kinds of reasons on why these lands aren't getting developed. I've spoken about this before. With all due respect, I don't think that TRPC's allocation of land is correct. The buildable land surveys, I think, are inaccurate. And if there was that much land out there, land would be developed more than what it is. There just isn't that much land. And when you start looking at what you're going to have to do for the set-asides for the pocket gopher, your land supplies are going to even get more constrained.
Your time is now up.
Oh, I got halfway through.
Mr. Rice, I did tell you to speak faster, but you did great. And please submit those comments
All right.
electronically so they're captured.
Thank you.
And now I will have a David Schaefert.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. I'm David Schaffert, President and CEO of the Thurston County Chamber, and my comments will hopefully be brief. In fact, I'll cut some of them out. I think, the Chamber is very supportive of the opportunity for Salish Landing to develop and create additional housing in our community. And we're supportive of the City of Tumwater's efforts to support Salish Landing on the county's 26-27 docket process. The Chamber of the past decade has been, I'd say, unapologetic about our convictions about housing and the need of housing in our community. The Chamber was part of the original coalition of Challenge Seattle to lobby the legislature for homeless and houseless response. We've advocated for subsidized and supportive housing, along with a variety of market rate housing efforts throughout our community, and of course, continue to share information on causal effects of affordability due to federal, state, and local policies. We're hopeful that policymakers and leaders work hard so that we have a healthy housing ecosystem in our community that supports everybody. Salish Landing is a quality development project, quality vision. And we're hopeful that you will see it that way and move opportunities forward within your purview. Also, I'll just reiterate, this is homegrown people doing good things for their community. In conclusion, the Chamber supports Salish Landing and all it will provide its future citizens. Salish Landing also supports two of the city's stated housing goals: increased supply and variety of choices. Thank you very much. Good evening.
Thank you, Mr. Shepherd. Please submit your full testimony so we have it for the record. Thank you.
Okay, so next I'm going to have a Mike Brewer followed by Heather Burgess.
Good evening. My name is Mike Brewer, 2228 Wedgewood Drive, here as a proponent, investor, and longtime community member in hopes that the city will move forward with its support letter to Thurston County. I want to remind everyone in the community that this is far from an approval of a specific project. This is simply an opportunity to give a process to consideration. It is a very long, tireless road of different compliance reviews, certainly environmental reviews, multi-jurisdictional reviews at the local community level, at the Thurston County level, and certainly here in Tumwater. Rob and I are very proud to have painted a vision for Salish Landing. We want to bring resources to the more than 2,000 homes that are within 2 miles of the Salish Landing property. We want to develop it with care and custody, with ultimate respect to the environment, full awareness and hyper communication to the community members at large. We want it to serve the Tumwater population. We want it to serve the rural population. We want to decrease miles traveled. We want to achieve a lot of environmental steward-friendly components in the project. We have strong support at the federal, the state, the county, the local levels, and we have amazing partnerships with many local tribes who are all supportive of the vision, the cultural awareness, and so we hope that you will support giving the project and the UGA swap application an opportunity to be fully heard and go through the vetting process. So all we're asking for is a chance and for you to join us on the optimistic journey to see if it meets all of the requirements along the way. And with any luck, it will, and Tumwater will be a better place to live.
Thank you, Mr. Brewer.
I'm going to submit these letters so each of the council members have a copy if I could.
Thank you.
Good evening, council members. My name is Heather Burgess with the law firm of Dixon, Froelich, Phillips, Burgess, and I'm privileged to serve as land use counsel for Salish Landing. I'm here also regarding item 7B on your agenda to request that the council take action this evening to authorize sending the proposed letter to the Board of County Commissioners to consider keeping Salish Landing's comprehensive plan amendment proposal on the 26-27 docket. I want to point out for the council that my client's efforts to bring this property into the city's UGA date all the way back to 2021 when it was first proposed and docketed at the county. It has been modified over time to conform with different changes in state law and is now configured as a UGA swap, which was a widely supported amendment to state law in 2022 and modified in 2024. Those modifications have caused some, we'll call it, confusion in the regulatory community about how those things are to be applied. We are confident that that confusion can be rectified and the process can move forward. But in order to move forward, we have to be retained on the docket. In order to be retained on the docket, we need the city of Tumwater's support to be considered. And all that we're asking for is a pathway for this UGI swapped proposal to be considered through the public process, which cannot occur if it is not on the docket. I would point out that that process includes extensive public process at the county level, robust environmental review, and a full environmental impact statement, all of which gets paid for at the applicant's expense on top of the considerable investments they have made in the process so far. Should this go forward, the applicant is prepared to work with the city to reach terms of a development agreement to address the remaining city considerations that are noted in the letter to the mayor. And we urge your support, and I will follow with written remarks and look forward to seeing you on this project in the future. Thank you.
Ms. Burgess.
Okay, next we have a name I can't quite read. It's a TN. Their address is 9601 Old Highway 99 Southeast. They're in the audience. And then next I would have a Kyle Kronk. If you would like to speak. Yeah, it's like TN and then it's BREARR maybe. I can't quite read it. So I think you're okay to go right now.
Thank you for letting me speak. Welcome. This is so great. I mean, this is an amazing project. And my name's Kyle Kronk. I'm the president and CEO of the South Sound YMCA. And this project really is about people and bringing people together. And that's exactly what the YMCA is all about. And it's really about centering people and making sure that all of the needs are met so that people can feel like they belong somewhere, they can recreate, they can play, their kids can go somewhere, and it's very convenient and very close. And all you really need to do is kind of look at the Briggs Village as an example. This project is unbelievable. It is so busy there, you pretty much can't park there on any day. And right now, there are not enough aquatic spaces, not enough gym spaces. And if we build a pool, it's full. We had over 1,500 kids in swim lessons in the month of January at the Briggs Pool. And we can replicate that at Salish Landing. So please move forward with this project, submit the letter. Thanks and congratulations on all the new elected people and the new leadership. I'm excited to see what happens. Thank
Thank you, Mr. Kronk.
Okay, next I will have a Eugene, I believe, Lenenbauer, and then I believe it's whoever's with him. I can't quite read that name either. Is there a Eugene Lenenbauer?
I'm Eugene Lindbauer, 9445 Old Highway 99 Southeast. And I'd like to speak for the Salish Landing. I think it's going to be great for the community. And I'm really looking forward to the YMCA. Thank you.
Everyone take note. He has 1 minute, 40 seconds left. That was amazing. Thank you, Mr. Lenbauer.
Okay, next I'll have a Valerie Fletch, followed by a Brian Fletch.
Hello, Council. I'm Valerie Fletch, 4148 89th Avenue Southeast, and I am here to show support for the Salish Landing. And I'm going to cut it very brief to give my husband more time because we share the notes.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Fletch. Brian, no pressure.
I will make it short also. My name is Brian Fletch, 4148 89th Avenue Southeast. I'm born and raised in Tumwater, lived here my entire life, and I live in close proximity to this project. I've known Mike Brewer and Rob Rice for many, many years, done business with both of them. Both fine, upstanding community members that give back to our community in many ways. And they're going to be here with this project. I've seen many people come here and try to do projects and then they leave and leave the mess for us. So that's not what I feel is going to happen with this project. The Salish Landing would bring a strong economic vibrancy to the city's urban growth area. The proposed development would provide and support housing and economic activity, employment, living in a space of sense of space. Locating a new community resource in close proximity to housing will keep spending local and create vibrancy. And this will also create sales and B&O tax for the city, which, as we all know, is very important, which keeps the city running, Mayor. You know that. And I'm very excited that, since we're in such close proximity, that the YMCA is considering locating there also. And that's going to be a great thing for the South County. And we need that in the South County. So I'm excited about this. This is going to be a great engine for economic growth here. And that's what we're all about. So thank you very much for the time.
Thank you, Mr. Fletch. And as you're walking back your seat, and Melodies, what year did you graduate from? Okay, 94 was the best year. Okay, now you're just rubbing it in. Thank you, Mr. Fletch. Melody, apologies. Thank you for the courtesy.
Next, I'll have a Joseph Bloom, followed by Steve Pullis.
Hello, I'm Joseph Bloom, 3616 Lovejoy Court. Keep it very brief, just here to provide my wholehearted support for the Salish Landing project. Excellent leaders, and it will be great for the community and City of Tumwater. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Steve Polis at 111 Tumwater Boulevard. I'm a lifetime Tumwater. I want to tell you that these two gentlemen, I see them at every single event. I'm a strong proponent. I want to see this go through. I think it's going to be great for our community. We work in the real estate industry, so we're trying to find housing every day for our clients. That's it. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you, Mr. Polis.
Okay, and now we're going to switch to online. So we're going to start with a Krista Gramman and then a Tammy Tonder. And both of these individuals are logged in twice on my attendee list. So I'm going to allow the first one I see to talk. And if you cannot talk, I will try the next one. You should be able to talk, Krista.
Okay, can you see me?
No, we can just hear you.
We can only hear you.
Okay. My name is Krista Grayman, and my home is in the Springer Lake community just south of 93rd near Old Highway 99. I'm one of over 470 community members who have signed the petition to stop bar holdings. Many of these signers live in Tumwater's urban growth area, even if their postal address says Olympia. They work here, shop here, raise families here, and pay taxes here. This isn't about opposing housing. It's about supporting housing in the right places, where infrastructure already exists, where services and jobs are reachable, where public costs are minimized, where community character and natural lands are respected. A UGA swap that outwardly expands the boundary does not advance these goals. What it will do is cause displacement of low-income residents from 90 manufactured homes inside Tumwater's urban growth area. It'll do this by extending sewer and development, which makes the land so valuable that the owner of the land will sell to the highest bidder. This type of thing is happening all over the US. You may say that we can't stop progress, but sprawl isn't progress. It's just bad planning. Since Tumwater has quite a bit of excess development capacity inside the UGA, the bar holdings developers can build new housing inside the UGA. They don't have to target a parcel that's outside the UGA. And just because they are going to make a lot of money from flipping cheap land does not mean Tumwater has to support them in that effort. The UGA swap doesn't create public benefit. It creates private benefit for few people.
Your 2 minutes is now up.
Thank you, Krista.
Thank you.
Okay, now I will have a Tammy Tonder who can speak. And you're now allowed to speak, Tammy. I have now made it so you can, okay, there.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I am Tammy Tonder, and I also live in the Springer Lake neighborhood next to the bar holding site. And I'm a retired storm sewer engineer from the city of Olympia. For the past couple of years, we've heard that Tumwater wants to extend services to rural people. Rural people did not ask for this. We choose to live in rural areas because we want rural character, forests, and open space. We want wells, septic systems, and low-density living. If we wanted urban services, we would have lived inside the city. Survey after survey shows the same thing. People who live in rural areas value rural character. We do not want urbanization brought to them. Calling sprawl extending services does not change what it really is. It is sprawl. It creates development pressure on surrounding rural and natural resource lands. That matters legally. The state's UGA swap statute does not allow swaps that cause development pressure on rural or natural resource lands. The county's own hydrologists warned that this project would encourage more development along the south of the Deschutes River, which my understanding is all the local jurisdictions are on board to protect and preserve this river. More development means more impervious surface, more contamination to the river and the aquifer, and more stress on the in-stream flows and on wells. It also means more pressure to extend sewer again and again. This is exactly the type of domino effect the swap law was meant to prevent. Once sewer is extended, growth will follow, and rural people lose the very qualities that brought us here in the first place. This proposal is not about helping rural residents. It's about converting rural land into urban development. Please do not support a project that harms rural communities and violates the intent of the swap statute. I urge you to oppose the bar holdings and UGA swap. Please respect our rural residents. Did I get it done in time?
You did. You
Tammy,
just
that was
finished.
amazing.
Okay,
Thank
I
you,
had
Tammy.
to talk like Speed Racer. Thank you.
It's good practice.
Okay, now I'm going to have Dave Stoffer followed by David Toyer. And Dave, you should be able to speak now.
I'll pass on talking.
Okay. So now I will allow David Toyer to speak.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi, David Toyer with Toyer Strategic Advisors. We're a land use and economic development consultant, and we work on the Bar Holdings Salish Landing project. Submitted some comments or really some information this afternoon to members of the council, and I just wanted to outline a couple of points that I think are really important and have been missed so far by a number of the speakers. The first point is that this is a UGA swap, and the problem is that when most folks are addressing this, they're talking only about the area that's being added to the UGA. They're not talking about the 65 acres that are being removed from the urban growth boundary. And I want to talk about that for a second. Those 65 acres that are proposed to be removed from the UGA are adjacent to Black Lake, and they bound both sides of Percival Creek and Black Lake Ditch, which eventually drain out to Bud Inlet. That area has a lot of need for protection for resources. It's an area that the county has identified as probable for Oregon spotted frog. And it's an area that if you look at the developability of that area, it is going to be low density sprawl, and it's going to require extensive work to get utilities to that location, including boring utilities under Percival Creek to get to the other side. And so we really look at the fact that when you take into consideration what's being pulled out of the UGA and you compare it to what's being added to the UGA, this swap ultimately at the end of the day achieves something that will provide more efficient maximization of existing service capabilities of the city. And it'll also end up putting more development closer to where development is actually occurring, not in an area that should have additional protections. Thank you.
Thank you, David.
Thank you. Next, we will have Gordon White and then followed by Anna Rumsey. Then we will switch back to in person. And Gordon, you should be able to speak now.
Yes, my name is Gordon White. I live in the Deschutes watershed in Olympia, like the developers do, and I'm affected by the development proposed by Bar Holdings. I also worked for Thurston Regional Planning Council in the 1980s and 1990s on setting up the North County UGA and on the critical aquifer recharge studies affecting parts of Tumwater and Deschutes River that are in question tonight. In addition, I would finish my career at Department of Ecology as a lead manager in charge of SEPA Policy Act development and advice to and support to local governments. I asked the council and mayor to pause on endorsing the Bar Holdings proposal and instead continue to work with the county on and other North County cities on if and when and how expansions in the North County UGA should be made. Last year, an attempt was made to create new policy for UGA swaps to enable Bar Holdings. That policy failed to address many issues and was put aside by the Board of County Commissioners. And before those policies are done, you can't do a swap. You don't have those policies in place yet. And so this is a little bit the cart before the horse kind of situation. So I would say just pause on the Bar Holdings proposal and make sure that as you work in partnership with the North County cities and regional planning, that this addresses the key considerations like drinking water aquifers and protect that supply of water to the Deschutes River. Importantly, the UGAs need to fit within that framework and protect those drinking water aquifers for nearby rural residents that have their own wells. Extension of the UGA south of Tumwater was attempted in the late 1990s and rejected by the Growth Management Hearings Board as an unnecessary risk to critical aquifer recharge areas. That lawsuit wasted resources that could have gone to developing affordable housing. Again, I ask that you pause and work through the many issues of extending the UGA that will have on water quality and stream flows to the Deschutes River, rural residents. Clearly brings up key equity questions for rural residents and make sure that the residential communities are represented in that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gordon.
Thank you. Now we will have an Anna Rumsey. And Anna, you should be now able to speak.
Hello. My name is Anna Rumsey and I live in Olympia. I'm here to ask you to protect low-income people. There are about 90 mobile homes near this project. People who live in mobile homes are often seniors, people with disabilities, and low-income workers. When land values go up, investors buy mobile home parks. When investors buy parks, rents go up, people are forced out. This is called displacement. Displacement means families lose their homes. They lose their community, they lose their stability. I know what housing insecurities feels like. I know how scary it is to not know where you will live. I have experienced that. No one should lose their home so a developer can make more money. This UGA swap will raise land values. That puts the people in these 90 mobile homes at risk. Tumwater should not support something that hurts vulnerable people. Please oppose the Bar Holdings UGA swap. Please stand with low-income residents. Please protect people's homes. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna.
Thank you. And now we will switch back to in chambers. We're going to start with a Matt Brady, followed by a Tristan Polis.
Hi, thank you for hearing me. My name is Matt Brady, 111 Tumwater Boulevard. I'm a lifelong resident here, and I'd just like to express my support for this project. Thank you.
Okay, and now I have a Tristan Polis.
Thank you, Matt.
Hi, thank you. My name's Tristan Polis at 111 Tumwater Boulevard. Also just want to give my support for the Salish Landing. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Tristan.
Okay, next we will have a Mark Shepard, followed by a Katie Shepard.
Hello, I'm Mark Shepard. I work for Rob Rice, one of the applicants. But besides that, I'm in favor of the project moving forward. I think it benefits my family and the community at large. If nothing else, just the YMCA. I do currently go to the Briggs one, and it's overwhelmed. It's hard to get there, just park there, I should say. And there's a lot of people in the area, I think, that would agree with that. And if nothing else, just that. So that's all I got.
Thank you, Mark.
Katie Shepard. And my address, do we have to do the address thing? No. Okay, I wrote mine down. So I am writing to express my strong support of the Salish Landing. Having the pleasure of knowing many of the people involved in this project, I can attest that they are truly wonderful members of our community. As a mother of 3, I value community spaces and would greatly appreciate the opportunity for a new YMCA facility. Our family is at the Y 4 to 5 days a week. We are that family that is trying to get those swim lessons, trying to get in there, and it's nearly impossible. And we would be so grateful for some more community spaces for our kids to enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie.
Okay, now I'll have a Janelle Cromwell, followed by a Constance Bloom. Okay, what about Constance Bloom?
Hi, I'm Constance Bloom, and I just wanted to say I'm in support of Salish Landing. I think it'll be great for everybody in Tumwater to have that space. It should help, as she was saying, with young families with children and just trying to manage your day after work and kids, and having a spot like that to take where it's safe and you can, if it's closer to home and convenient, that would just make all the difference for a lot of families, I think. So I am in support.
Thank you, Constance.
Okay, next we'll have an Emily Bloom, followed by Ryan Reynolds.
Good evening, Council. I'm Emily Bloom, 711 Capitol Way South. And I also am here tonight to express my support of the Salish Landing project. I firmly believe in the vision. I believe in the leadership. And most of all, I believe in the power behind building community gathering spaces and providing increased housing options in our communities. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily. I know I saw Ryan Reynolds in the lobby. You could just make some space for Ryan Reynolds.
Good evening. My name's Ryan Reynolds. I'm here tonight speaking on behalf of Tumwater Area Chamber of Commerce. Mayor and Council, the Tumwater Area Chamber of Commerce is in support of the development of Salish Landing. The Thurston Economic Development Council's projected numbers regarding estimated jobs this will create, potential labor income, state and local tax revenue, and total economic output are all examples of needs that will have an immediate impact on our community. This endeavor focuses on additional housing opportunities, recreation, commercial development, and recognition of Native history, of which all are pieces of the puzzle that are important to this city, and we have the chance to capitalize on at this moment here in Tumwater. We believe that this is another chance to keep the engine of increased business opportunity investing in our city. This is a favorable opportunity and is critical to the continued growth of Tumwater and its citizenry. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan.
Okay, now we'll have Michael Cade and Christina J.
I believe Michael Cade is also in the lobby.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Thank you for the opportunity to address you this evening on this very important project. It's interesting. I was kind of going through my notes and I'm scratching them off as folks have kind of addressed those topics. So I do want to reference Mr. Toyer's comments, Ms. Burgess's comments, Mr. Fletch's, and Mr. Reynolds. Certainly support those comments, and I will double down on those comments as being certainly what I want to speak to. The Economic Development Council, excuse me, I'm the Executive Director of the Economic Development Council, Thurston County. As the EDC Director, I have an opportunity to speak before many councils. I think hundreds, thousands of these things. Our board is mostly concerned and definitely concerned about how we operate a good, vibrant, inclusive urban growth area. This project certainly meets those criteria, that it creates an environment where families, employment, recreation, YMCA, Native cultures come together to create a community. That's very important when you start thinking long term. Mr. Reynolds talked a little bit about the economic impacts of those. So we look at how the communities operate relative to the urban growth area, the Growth Management Act. We want that to be successful. But when you start thinking about would this project moves forward, and I encourage you to keep moving this forward, start thinking about 300 that build out 375 jobs. What does that really mean? But it also means labor income. $50 million worth of new labor income in this community. It's pretty significant. Start thinking about the municipal impacts, tax revenues estimated. We ran the implant model on this. Tax revenues for municipal is $725,000 annual. Special purpose districts, which is et cetera, about $1 million, 1.2 million. So it's a pretty significant contribution. So when we start talking about these things, we need to make sure we keep in context of the notion that how urban growth areas operate and what they add to the community. And in this case, not necessarily just adds those numbers, but it adds the community and the patina of how a community
Your time
operates.
is now up.
Yeah. Thank you very much for your time and attention.
Thank you, Michael.
Good evening, Christina Janice. I live in Olympia. I just want to say I am in support of the Salish Landing project. I think all the economic development comments have been made, so I would say ditto. I have represented Rob in a nearby community. I can tell you daily, weekly conversations on the sidewalks. Our community members want this. They want that gathering spots, the YMCA. They want that community hub feeling. That's something that I've listened to across jurisdictions, that people want those community centers that they feel attached to. I, for one, live in the northwest corner of the county. I can attest after 25 years, it's nice to have my little hub. I don't have to drive 12 miles into town to go to the grocery store. These are vital resources for our communities. You want to get cars off the road. You want people to have services ready and nearby. It's really important. I would appreciate your support and passing that letter on to the county. Thank you.
Thank you, Christina. And we'll let it go that you live in Olympia.
Okay, I have one more in chambers before we go online. It's a Noah Hesda. What? Sorry if I didn't say it.
Good evening, Council. My name is Noé. I'm a resident of Tumwater, and I'm here to support the project. I have a growing family, 2.5-year-old, and a second on the way, and I just wanted to come here and show my support for the Salish project. Thank you.
Thank you, Noah, and congratulations.
Okay, now we're going to switch to online. We just have 3 more for online. So we're going to start with Ray Gleason, followed by a Betsy Norton. And Ray, you should be able to speak now. Give him a minute. Ray Gleason, if you would like to speak, please unmute. Okay, for now, I'm going to switch back to a Betsy Norton. And Betsy, you should now be able to speak.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I submitted some comments to the City Council for your work session last week. My name's Betsy Norton. I live in Olympia, but I shop a lot in Tumwater. I just wanted to, I do not support this rezone. I think it's urban sprawl. I think the other thing is that needs to be clear to people is that this is not a housing project. This is a request to rezone to commercial and industrial primarily. There's one mixed use in there, but this is probably not going to be a housing project, and neither does the rezone ensure that any particular use is going to happen. Hopefully they'll put a Y in there, but there's no guarantee of that either. So just please align your expectations along with commercial and industrial for this area that is currently rural and the development code allows it to be paved to the point of 85% impervious surface, whereas right now it's full of trees and grass. And please be aware also, the City Council, that, the more you allow developers to expand into the rural county, the less leverage you have to try and get them to help you redevelop and rehabilitate some of the blighted and underutilized areas in your urban core. So I'll submit my comments, but thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you, Betsy.
Thank you, Betsy. Now we will have Jim Lazar. And Jim, you can now speak.
Thanks very much. I oppose the inclusion of the Bar Holdings proposal and urge the council to oppose its inclusion in the county's docket. This type of sprawl is exactly what the Growth Management Act was intended to stop. This type of sprawl is exactly what the Sustainable Thurston Plan specifically excluded, calling for 95% of new homes to be in the existing developed area. Those policies were incorporated into Thurston Climate Mitigation Plan, which this council adopted. This is a violation of that plan. Sprawl costs the city more than it brings in revenues. Expanding police and fire service is expensive. Expanding water and sewer service is expensive, and new development does not pay for this. The site is more than 3 miles beyond the intercity transit route network. Apartments should not be built far from services and far from transit. And certainly a YMCA should not be built far from the population center and far from transit. Your citizens, hundreds of your citizens have petitioned against this project. You've heard from Gordon White, perhaps the person in our county most knowledgeable about the Growth Management Act, that this is not consistent with law and policy. I urge you to discontinue any consideration of the UGA swap. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
Okay, now we'll go back to in chambers and we'll have a Justin Clement followed by a Megan Wells.
Hi, I'm Justin Clement. Thank you for letting me have the time to talk. 204 T Street in Tumwater. I'm here in support of Bar Holdings and their plan to move forward with Salish Landing. I think it'd be really good for providing essential services to the south part of the county. It'll provide more than just housing. It's going to give them opportunities for the YMCA and other options with it. Thank you.
Thank you, Justin.
Hi, Megan Wells. My family and I own several properties in the south part of the county. And I think that this development would be an amazing asset My granddaughter lives out in Bucota, and I know she wants to do swimming lessons, but unfortunately, the current YMCA is just too far for her. So I know she would be thrilled to have this that close to where she lives. I also think with the greenhouse gas emissions and the travel time that it takes for people to get from the South County into Tumwater, I think overall this would just be beneficial for our environment. Thank you.
Thank you, Megan.
Okay, I'm going to have a Tim Madley followed by Ivana Madley.
I'm Tim Madley. I'm an Olympia resident. I know both of the developers personally, and I can attest to their character. They're very supportive of the community, and I support this to move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Okay, ditto. Got it.
Okay, now I'll have a Bob Jorgensen followed by a Heather Mitchell.
Yes, I just wanted to put my support behind this. One thing that I can say about Rob Rice, I have sold his homes for probably the last 30, 35, 40 years. So we won't talk about how long I've been
So
selling
you look
those.
so youthful though, Bob.
Yeah.
How is that possible?
AI. Anyhow, one thing that I really want to impress upon everyone is the one thing that distinguishes Rob in what he does not just build houses. He develops neighborhoods and community. The houses that he build typically get sold at higher prices and are better neighborhoods that people want to live in. He spends a little bit more money to do things like shrubs in the front yard, not building 10 houses in a row, same floor plan, and then another floor plan, mixes it up very well. And he doesn't just build houses, he builds communities, and he's going to do the same thing with Mike, and I put my support behind this project. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
Good evening, council members and mayor. My name is Heather Mitchell. I live at 170th Avenue in Rochester, Washington, and I'm here in support of the Tumwater City Council keeping the bar holding Shayless Landing urban growth area swap on Thurston County's comprehensive plan. This project would add roughly 200 housing units, which would contribute to meeting Washington State's Growth Management Act. It brings the needs of the community to the area, which should reduce the current need to travel for services. It will give designated land to the YMCA to support their mission on focusing on healthy and diverse communities. It will generate state and local tax revenue. Change is hard and growth can be intimidating, but this project would have a substantial benefit to Tumwater and surrounding communities. We should be focused on continuous improvement, resilience, and proactively embracing change to avoid the real scenario of evolve or die. If not in Thurston County, this project could move to a different jurisdiction, and then we lose the benefits this project would provide for our community. Thank you for hearing us tonight.
Thank you, Heather.
Okay, next I have a Mike Mitchell followed by a Phil Barkley.
Hi, my name is Mike Mitchell. I live with the previous speaker. I work in the local area in construction industry, and I'm in support of this project for the jobs that it'll bring, the housing, and the YMCA for the kids.
Thank you, Mike. Also, you have an amazing radio voice. Maybe he should do our intros to our council meetings moving forward. I digress. Thank you, Melody.
Okay, I have a Phil Barkley. They're here, would like to speak.
Is there a Phil in the lobby?
Okay, we'll switch to a Jim Green.
Thank you. Good evening, council members and mayor. Thanks for having us here. I've been in the real estate industry here in Thurston County for over 35 years. I've worked with many developers, many builders in this area from that time on. And I can attest to Rob Rice and how he develops properties here locally. You've been in business a little bit longer than me, Rob. but how he, as Bob Jorgens would say beautifully, he cares more about a community than he does about building a home. And so I would like to at least address one of the things I've been hearing tonight about urban sprawl. As Rob put, this is not urban sprawl. This is a UGA area. Anything within the UGA area is sprawl technically as you grow. This is a swap issue. You're trying to get it from one property to another because the other property has more environmental sensitive issues. We're trying to bring it to an area which is better growth, better development, it's smarter. So I would say this is not urban sprawl, this is smart growth, which then brings back the community tie. I do believe we have, I think Thurston County in the state of Washington is like number 3 for the least affordable index, income versus housing. You're going to try to fix that. So I'm in full support. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
Okay. Now we have a Joel Hansen followed by a Joe Betridge.
Thank you, Mayor, council members. My name is Joel Hansen. I live at 65 73rd Avenue in Tumwater. Just a short walk from here. And
First, Joel, did you actually walk here?
I did not.
Please proceed.
Okay. Thank you. Nice work. I guess I should also state I'm a former Tumwater Planning Commissioner. Until December, I was the chair of the Thurston County Planning Commission, and now I represent District 4 as a port commissioner for Thurston County. And this location is in District 4 in my district. I don't want to talk about the project necessarily because that's not the point in the process where we are. I want to talk about the process. And I think that that's really the question here is, do we follow the processes that we have in place to make decisions? They will include enormous amounts of environmental review. They will include enormous amounts of public process. And so tonight, what you're being asked to do is to trust the process and to move this forward in the process. And so I'm in favor of that. I'm in favor of that. I'm in favor of trusting our process. I can say some of the information that has been out there about this project is really distortions and conflations and misinformation. I'll talk to one thing in particular because in my role in the Planning Commission, I've seen the hydrogeologist report from the county, and it does not say what people claim it to say. And I've talked to the folks at the county, and they back me up on that. So I think we need to trust the process and not just the information that is being out there spread around about this project. And the last thing I'll say, we've got big challenges facing us as elected officials. And I just really respect that and applaud
Your time is now
Tumwater for being willing to take big ideas and explore big ideas in search of solutions for those big challenges. So
We'll let you
thank
finish your compliment. Thank you, Joel Hansen. And just as Melody calls up the next person, if there is one seat up front, if you want to sit right in front of me so I can stare at you, there is one seat open. Does someone want to come sit up front?
Okay, so next I'll have a Joe Betridge, I believe.
Hello, thanks for the opportunity to address you. I live rurally in Thurston County. I love it. I have a septic system and a well, and I am not threatened by this project. I really welcome it. Can't tell you how fortunate I would have been to be able to drive my kids to this proposed location as opposed to across the county trying to teach my kids to swim. And we have a real housing crisis here. It's a supply and demand thing. This helps address that. So I would urge your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
Okay, next we'll have a Eugenie Williams followed by Robert Williams.
Is there a Eugene in the lobby?
Or Robert Williams?
Oh, now I'm just making up names. Is there a Robert?
There was a Eugenie on here.
Okay, thank you.
Here. Okay. Now I'm going to go to a Dr. George. I can't quite read their last name. They're at 9906 Hart Road.
We got a doctor in the house.
Thank you. Thank you. Dr. George Gunderson, 9906 Hart Road, Tumwater, Washington. Thank you, Mayor and council members, for this opportunity to talk. I'm really concerned because I've lived here since 1956. I watched Lacey, Olympia, and Tumwater grow, not in a planned way, but in a chaotic way. A little here, a little there. Where's the city center? Where's this? Where's that? It's been very confusing, I think you know, where we really belong. And to me, that bothers me. I think it's a wonderful idea, what they have presented. I can't deny that. But I have worked with developers. I had property on the Wiggins Road. It's called Woodsmere. And I talked to Woodsmere, and he told me, just like what these gentlemen said tonight, it's going to be the most grandiose development in all Olympia. For 5 years, my property was flooded adjacent to his development. For 5 years. Who do you think paid for that? You did. The members of the community ended up paying to correct the flooding that occurred on my property. And this is frequently what happens, unfortunately, is there's a development, and then after so many years, the society, the community has to come back and correct the problems that occur. We don't know what some of these problems may be, but they're always, Mother Nature has strange ways of doing things, and that's unfortunate for us. And I think really what we have here, we have the cart again before the horse, because.
And your time is now up.
We'll let him finish your sentence, Dr. Gunderson.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that what we need is infrastructure. I know Lot is suffering. We ship our sewage to Portland. Why? And what is the cost to the public, to you, for that? There's other issues too. The electricity quality is going up because there's not enough of it. I want to thank you so much.
Thank you, Gunderson, Dr. Gunderson. And by the way, his son is an amazing dentist. I've been their dentist for years.
I'm totally against the development.
Yes, I picked up on that. Picked up on it. Negative, Dr. Gunderson. Got it.
Okay, next I'll have a Rhonda Larson Kramer, followed by an Elizabeth Nagny.
Hi, my name is Rhonda Larson Kramer, and I live in Olympia and also own forest land outside the Tumwater urban growth area. And I want to take a moment to acknowledge an important shift in how this Bar Holdings proposal is being handled, and to thank the mayor for that. In 2022, during the docket cycle for the county, Tumwater staff submitted a comment letter opposing Bar Holdings because developers' core justification that Tumwater lacks sufficient buildable land is not true. Staff, that would be Brad, concluded that Tumwater already has enough residential, commercial, and industrial land capacity inside the existing urban growth area to accommodate projected growth. In the 2023 and 2024 county docket cycles, the former mayor submitted letters expressing support for the proposal and stating that they reflected the county's position. However, those letters were not discussed with council beforehand, and council was not asked to consider it or authorize that position. This year, things have changed. The current mayor has brought this issue to the council. That step matters. I also was able to meet with the planning manager, Brad Medrud, and city administrator, Paul Simmons, yesterday to discuss the implications of the UGA swap and Tumwater's potential role. This signals a culture of openness, and I hope that we continue moving in that direction. That is what good governance looks like. I would also like to thank everyone who helped remove this item from the consent agenda and place it on the regular agenda so that the council can discuss it. UGA boundary decisions have long-term financial, fiscal, environmental, and community consequences. They should be discussed openly with the council involvement and informed staff expertise. Regardless of where each of you ultimately land on this, I appreciate the process this year is more transparent. So thank you for taking the time to consider this carefully. While I do hope that you'll issue a letter opposing Bar Holdings, I also wanted to be sure to thank the mayor for fostering a more open and collaborative process.
Thank you, Rhonda. And just so you know, if there's any agenda item that you have a question about, right, that's on consent, you can reach out to the city, you can reach out to myself, you can reach out to any council member like Rhonda did and request that it be pulled. It's not a big deal, right? It's what we do. If you have a question, we pull it, we talk about it. So this should be normal process. So thank you, Rhonda.
Good evening. My name's Elizabeth McNagney, and I live just west of the Bar Holdings site. I oppose the Bar Holdings UGA swap. I'm here to particularly focus on water because in my neighborhood, in Tumwater's urban growth area, many homes are already having serious well problems. The Bar Holdings proposal would replace about 33 acres of forest land with development that would be over 80% impervious surfaces, roofs, pavements, and parking lots. Forest and soil allow rain to slowly soak into the ground. That slow soaking is what recharges aquifers and supports wells. When you replace that with pavement, even with stormwater facilities, you do not get the same kind of recharge as natural forest. Stormwater ponds and injection systems are designed mainly to prevent flooding and pollution. They are not designed to replicate natural forest hydrology. The county's own hydrologists found that this level of impervious surfaces puts in-stream flows in the Deschutes River at risk. If river flows are at risk, then groundwater is also at risk. And if the groundwater is at risk, surrounding wells are at risk too. Once wells fail, there is no easy fix. This proposal puts existing rural residents at risk so private developers can build at the edge of the UGA. That isn't fair. That is not responsible planning. Tumwater should not support a project that threatens water supplies for existing communities. I urge you tonight to oppose the Bar Holdings UGA swap. Please protect our water and our wells. Thank you very much for your time tonight.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Okay, next I'll have a Ryan Pantier followed by Matt Jones.
Hi, my name is Ryan Pantier. I live at 16208 Gibson Road in Tenino. I guess I'm definitely here I'm in favor of this proposal. I think this is going to be a really good project for our community. As a resident of the South County, I can tell you for sure that these services don't exist. You know, we live it every day. If that had been there when my kids were younger, we would have used it a ton. I intend to live where I'm at for the rest of my life, so we'll take advantage of my grandkids, and I'm really looking forward to that opportunity. So please help us get this to the next step. Thanks.
Thank you, Ryan. I'm not going to take it personally that you're choosing Tenino over Tumwater.
My name is Matt Jones. I'm a Lacey resident. I'm supporting the project because it's a great idea and great communities, invest in these communities. And I'm in Tumwater a lot outside of work, and it would be great to have facilities to go to when I'm there from 5:30 to 8 o'clock, 3 days a week off of 93rd at a soccer facility. There's not stuff down there. And so I support the idea. I think you guys should move forward with trying to improve it. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
Okay, next we'll have a Jason Lossing by Jolene, and then Jolene Stokesbury.
Is there a Jason in the lobby?
Or a Jolene?
Now I have that song in my head.
Okay, we will move on to Linda Fretz and Eric Johansson.
Hello, my name is Linda Fretz. I live at 9122 Shibear Drive, Southeast Olympia, in unincorporated Thurston County, which is just a few miles from this project, which I pass multiple times each week. And it will affect me personally. I want to speak about how this Bar Holdings UGA swap is being framed. At different times, different officials have said different things about who is really making the decision. I've heard that the chair of the county commission has said he would do whatever Tumwater wanted on this proposal. Now I hear that Tumwater is being told it should support the project because the county wants it. That is circular shifting of responsibility. County officials want to point to cities, then cities point back to the county, and in the end, no one is accountable. This dynamic leaves rural residents like myself, the people who live next to this proposal, with no real representation at all. Meanwhile, the people who rely on wells, live near the site, and who will experience the direct impacts are being ignored. This proposal affects rural water supplies, including the local aquifer recharge area, rural roads, rural communities. Those residents deserve to know that at least one level of government is willing to independently evaluate this decision and will not simply follow political pressure, nor will pass the buck. Tumwater has the ability to exercise independent judgment. You do not need to support this proposal and lend your name to the boundary move that harms rural communities and creates sprawl. I urge you to oppose the Bar Holdings UGA swap. Please don't participate in a shell game. Please stand for accountable, independent decision-making that will affect the rural residents of this community. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda.
And now we would have Eric Johansson.
There, Eric in the lobby.
Okay, next would be a Linda Burt.
Hi, my name is Linda Burt, B-U-R-T. My address is 3244 66th Avenue Southwest, which is called Olympia, but it's in Tumwater.
Linda, if you could just speak into the microphone a little bit so those online can hear you.
Oh, can you
There you
hear
go.
me?
Yes, much better.
Could you not? Do I have to start over?
Just talk fast, Linda. Talk fast.
We're friends. So I had a meeting with our new mayor. Was it last week?
I can't remember
I don't
yesterday,
know.
Linda. So
Okay. Anyway, I want to change your focus. And I came here because I had another focus, and then I meet all of you. My focus is something I've been working on for years and getting nothing back from the council at all. So I'm here to ask you, first of all, to make me the leader of creating a community for those of us who can't afford to live in the current economic situation that we're in. Somebody mentioned the contractor, and that does so much in Tumwater, but if he has $450,000 houses, can I afford that? No. Okay, so then we'll half it. $250,000 home, can I afford that? No. I'm only on Social Security. I get $1,300 a month. So tell me where this should be for us that are falling through the cracks. I know the homeless are important, but so are we. I don't want to be homeless. I dressed the inlayers. Oh, I can't tell you about it. They're layers.
can you finish your sentence, Linda?
Yeah. This top layer is my sister. She died while I was waiting. Murder, gun violence. The second one is from my husband, who died while I'm waiting. How long do I have to wait? We need to come up with a proposal. I have a proposal, and I'm going to go talk to the billionaires and 167 millionaires in the state. And maybe they will help us. So if you could please appoint me head of that project.
Thank you, Linda.
Okay, next we'll have an Angela Deardoff and a Dana Larson.
Good evening. Thank you, Mayor and City Council. My name is Angela Deardorff-Ziegenfuse, and I live in Tumwater. I'm also an environmental scientist, and a Rob Rice development is adjacent to my neighborhood on Kersop, and it is a clear-cut atrocity. I'm here to speak out against the Bar Holdings UGA swap. The draft letter says that locating goods and services closer to future residents in the area of the preserve would reduce vehicle miles traveled and emissions, but that's not how transportation works. Daily commute trips, not weekly retail trips, are what drive vehicle miles traveled and carbon emissions. By placing roughly 200 homes at the fringe of the urban growth area, we are increasing average daily travel distances for commuters, exactly the opposite of what climate smart planning calls for. Compact growth inside existing urban areas where jobs, services, transit, and schools are already nearby actually reduces vehicle miles traveled over time. That's why state and regional planning guidance, including the Washington State Plan for Compact Growth, recommends prioritizing infill and redevelopment. The claim that a fringe UGA expansion will reduce travel, emissions, or congestion is simply not supported by planning research. I urge you to either oppose the Bar Holdings UGA swap or at least remove supportive language from your letter. Thank you.
Thank you, Angela. On a personal note, it's nice to see you.
You too.
Hello, Mayor and council members. My name is Dana Larson.
You could use the microphone. Thank you.
My name is Dana Larson. That's really loud. My name is Dana Larson. I live in rural Grays Harbor County. I live in the boonies because I want to be in the boonies. I'm here tonight, though, to ask you to please oppose the Bar Holdings UGA swap, or at least remove supportive language from the draft letter. It's often said that expanding the UGA boundaries creates housing affordability, but real-world data, including Tumwater's own buildable lands report, shows that Tumwater already has ample capacity to accommodate projected growth. In fact, prior to the middle housing legislation, Tumwater had about 20% more buildable land than required for the next 20 years. Now that the middle housing legislation has passed, Tumwater's excess capacity is even greater. What a UGA swap actually does is shift the development burden outward, away from infrastructure we already pay for, and onto taxpayers. Sewer and water extension costs are borne by the public. Roads and utilities in greenfield areas cost more per household. Spread out development creates maintenance obligations forever. In contrast, directing growth inside existing UGA encourages efficient use of existing infrastructure, reduces public costs, and supports more affordable housing because land and infrastructure are already in place. Tumwater should promote real affordability, not artificial boundary expansions that increase costs. I respectfully urge you to either oppose the swap or, at a minimum, remove the supportive language from your draft letter. Thank you.
Thank you, Dana.
Okay, next I will have a Bruce Batson, and then I can't read their last name, but it looks like John and Ayla. But let's start with Bruce, please.
Mrs. Mayor, members of the council, thanks for having me. I thought I was signing up for an attendance sheet.
Marked as present. Thank you,
But
Bruce.
still, I'm here. My name is Bruce Batson. I live at 6721 Gold Creek Drive in Tumwater. I've been a Tumwater resident for 33 years now. I'm very excited about this project. We need diversification in our commercial spaces and our residential spaces. And I know the people involved, and I've worked with them many years, and they're people of high integrity. So I fully support this project. Thank you.
Thank you, Bruce, and thank you for being in attendance tonight.
And then I have John and Ayla. I can't quite read the last name. They're on Arab Drive.
I need you two to come up to the microphones so everyone can hear you.
Hi, John and Gayla Deer. We are residents of Tumwater as well, 2042 Arab Drive, Southeast. I have been living in Tumwater for about 25 years now, and we are also in support of this project. Glad to be here tonight to promote.
Thank you. It's nice to see you both. John, noted. Got it.
Okay, next I have a Shea Miller and followed by a Jamie Gibbow.
Two is in the category of being marked present. Many of us didn't understand that. But I'm here. My name is Jamie Jabot. I'm an Olympia resident, and I stand in full support of this project. The people who are behind this project give back to our community more than any of us could even imagine. And I feel that this project is going to benefit us greatly on many different levels throughout all of Thurston County, not just in Tumwater, Olympia, or otherwise. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then I also had a Shea Miller if they would like to speak. Not here? Okay. I'm going to move on to a Rick. They live on Edinburgh Drive. I think it's Schroeder. I'm not sure. And an Ed Humble. I think he's
Rick needs to go first.
Hi, my name is Rick Schroeder. I'm an Olympia resident, but through the course of all the years, I have grandkids that go to Tumwater. I'm in Tumwater more than I am in Olympia lately. I'm a coach. I'm also very adamant about youth and having another YMCA. I grew up with Briggs and our kids were in it constantly. So having another one of those now that Briggs is, I've heard is getting, and I've witnessed it getting very busy, and having this development and the sources for youth to be going to areas and just creates a whole family experience, I think, as far as the neighborhoods and everybody around it. So I definitely support this project. Thank you.
Thank you, Rick.
Okay. It's about time started. My name is Dr. Ed Humble, and but I'm here tonight as I'm also the chair of the South Sound Sierra Club. And so I'm here. I almost feel like I'm that guy from the Dr. Seuss movie, the Dr. Seuss book that says, I speak for the trees and waves his fist. But I do speak for the environment. And that's why we're here. That's why Sierra Club wants to be here. We've looked at this. We've looked at this carefully. We understand the need for housing. We understand the real need for low-income housing. We also understand the purpose of an urban growth boundary and why we've set those and why we spent a lot of time setting those. And those are the things that we wanted to say that now we can put the services inside that area. Within that urban growth boundary law, there is a swap provision. But just the word swap makes you think like it's equal. I trade you something valuable for something valuable. This isn't a fair swap. You're not getting as valuable land back because this land has been identified as a critical discharge into the Deschutes River. And the Deschutes River is threatened right now. We don't need to keep reducing the water flow into the Deschutes River. That's going to be not very good for what I've seen some beautiful plans for downtown Tumwater. Those all involve a beautiful Deschutes River, and we need to be careful of that. And if we're going to make swaps, we have to have equal replenishment of that coming back. So with that, I got it done in less than 2 minutes. I did want to, Jim Lazar already said, you've signed the Thurston Climate Mitigation Plan, and this is opposite to that, what you've agreed to in that plan. Thank you for listening to me. Support Sierra Club. And I live between Tumwater and Tenino. So I'm kind of,
Good day, Dr. Humble. Good day. Thank you, Dr. Humble. Appreciate you coming tonight.
Okay, now I have Chris Katsky followed by Carney Whistler.
You see anyone walking in the lobby there? Well,
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Chris Kautsky, and I live at 908 Delta Lane in Tumwater. And I am not in favor of this UGA swap, and I'm also not in favor of this development as it is proposed. For the first reason is personal. I am generally in favor of growth and development, but I want it measured and thoughtful for our city. The GMA was the big first step in making growth available tied to where city services are. I think there's a lot of space inside of Tumwater that could be redeveloped, and all of this money and energy could go to expanding the services and the people who have access to services right within our community exists. This development does the opposite. It pushes development out toward the edges of where we don't have services already and where people chose to live in a more rural environment. Number two is our city right now. A lot of new infrastructure is needed to support this. And where are we going to have the money for that? That's not borne by the developers, that's borne by us as taxpayers. And it encourages future development because as soon as you get a beautiful facility, then somebody's going to want to buy a coffee shop, or they're going to rebuild a coffee shop, or they're going to want to put another development in. Soon our UGA is even further from the city center that this city deserves. And finally, I want you to look to the Briggs Village. I live near the Briggs Village development, and when the master plan unit development came through, a lot of great promises were made. We got a YMCA, but what we got built was residential and none of the commercial. So be careful with the promises that they make. Look and see what you're actually going to get. And I have a few more comments, but I'm just going to say, because my time is running out.
I mean, Chris, you get 7 seconds. You can crank it.
Okay. There are no paid advocates for open space, aquifer recharge, our beautiful environment, what makes Washington great. So we have to step up. And you guys, the city council and our good government, have to remember that those intangibles cannot be quantified in terms of dollars. And it's very difficult. So you have to keep that in mind, that you're advocating for those things. And I am against this development. I think you can do a lot better with
one
the
sentence, Chris, one sentence.
So I'm out.
Okay, thank you, Chris.
So thanks. See you guys next time.
Thank you, Chris.
Well, good evening. My name is Carrie Whistler, and I'm a South Thurston County resident, and I'm also a board member of the Thurston Economic Development Council, and I have been for 20 years, and I'm a local community banker. At the EDC, we support and endorse the letter and recommendation of the County Commission that is drafted in the council packet this evening. Our organization has been tracking this process for a long time and has made many positive comments over the past. At the EDC, our goals are to recruit business. We want to retain employers, we want to retain employees, and we want to support the community. Salish Landing would be a project that will create a really strong, economic, vibrant community. It's proposing to locate jobs, employment opportunities with housing and community assets, such as retail, recreation, education, and childcare that's needed. These are the assets the community needs to be successful. And as an added bonus, these economic activities work to keep spending local, and that's keep people local. I want to point out those 200 plus attainable housing units. That's families staying local. So please know that the EDC organization, our entire organization, is ready to work with the city and the developer to ensure this project is successful, and that means workforce development and the recruitment of employers. Thank you for your consideration, positive comments on this project.
Thank you, Carrie.
Okay, next I'll have a Chad Kramer followed by a Sedana Campbell.
Hi, my name is Chad Kramer and I live in Olympia, but I have forest land just outside Tumwater, urban growth area right next door to Bar Holdings. I'm also here to ask you to oppose Bar Holdings, also known as Salish Landing. Specifically, I want to address a claim in the draft letter that proposed development would, quote, reduce miles traveled, ease road congestion, and reduce carbon emissions, unquote. Because goods and services would be closer to the residents of the preserve and Bradbury housing developments. That language appears to be lifted directly from the developer's application and prior support letters, rather than based on independent transportation or land use analysis. That language also misrepresents how vehicles miles traveled are actually generated and reduced. First, commuting, not retail trips, drives vehicle miles traveled. Transportation research used by state and regional planners consistently shows that daily commute trips to work account for the largest share of household vehicle miles traveled. Retail and service trips typically occur weekly or less frequently. So even if some shopping trips were closer, that would have little effect on overall vehicle miles traveled and compared to daily commuting patterns. People still need to travel to work, school, and childcare. Second, fringe growth increases average travel distances. Placing 200 new apartments at the edge of the urban growth area does not shorten daily trips for most residents. It increases average distance from major job centers and services. It increases automobile dependence because transit and walkability are limited at the fringe. Compact growth, where housing is located closer to jobs, schools, services, and existing transit, is what actually reduces daily travel distances over time. Third, distances are already relatively close to the preserve. The preserve is approximately 1.4 miles from Spud's Produce and about 4.5 miles, roughly 10-minute drive from major retailers like Home Depot, Walmart, Costco, and Fred Meyer. In transportation planning, 4.5 miles is considered short auto trip. Retail access to the people at the preserve is not distant.
Chad, your time is up, so if you can finish your sentence.
I urge you to remove this unsupported claim from the draft letter and not to support the UGA swap at all. Thank you.
Thank you, Chad. If you can submit your full testimony so we have it on
Will
record.
do.
Thank you, Chad.
Thanks.
Hello, my name is Sedona Campbell. I'm 17 years old and a senior at Tumwater High School. I live at 9420 Springer Lake Lane, which is right across from the Bar Holdings site. I want to respond to the idea that writing a letter of support for Bar Holdings UGA swap doesn't really change anything because the review process will continue anyway. That's not how land use decision making works in practice. There will still be hearings and there will still be a technical review, but the Tumwater is a city that carries enormous weight with the county commissioners. It's the city whose UGA swap would be moved and whose comprehensive plan would be amended, and the city whose infrastructure systems would be involved, and the city that would carry the financial burden. So when Tumwater sends a letter of support, it sends a very strong signal to the county that this is desired and should move forward, which shapes the entire process and influences staff recommendations. So while it's true that the process continues, it's misleading to suggest a letter of support doesn't change the outcome, because it does. I have seen the incredible biodiversity that lives in my neighborhood. My backyard is home to great horned owls, deer, coyotes, and many more. Supporting this development would not only hurt the wildlife by destroying their habitat and taking away an important wildlife corridor, damaging a critical aquifer recharge area, it also wouldn't further Tumwater's affordability goals. Building might be cheap, but the cost of transportation definitely isn't. In order to get to Bar Holdings, I would either have to hop my neighbor's fence or drive there. Low-income families already spend a disproportionate amount of their income on transportation, so building low income in a place that would increase the transportation costs without addressing said transportation costs isn't really low income. I turn 18 this April, and I'm really excited to vote because I want my representatives to value their constituents' opinion, and I want my values to be represented in my elected officials. So I urge you to recognize the real influence you hold and use it carefully and consider the implications of this development. So I urge you, please oppose the Bar Holdings UGA swap. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Sedona. Well done.
Okay.
Melanie, can we just, it's like, it's 8:29. How many more? Could you just give us update? Because I think I might like to recess for 5 minutes, depending on how.
Yeah, I have probably about 20-ish names left at least. So if you would like to recess for...
Are you okay? I mean, not that you all need to know that I need a bio break, but can we recess for 5 minutes? Because recess for 5 minutes, please. If you all want to start making your way into the chambers, there's a few seats here. The movie will start back up again. If you want to make your way into the chambers, the movie will begin shortly. There's plenty of seats inside. Please feel free to come inside. Going to get ready to continue with public comment. Who knew this Tuesday would be so exciting? Plenty of seats inside. Don't be shy.
Okay, are we ready to begin again with public comment?
Let's keep it going.
Okay, we're going to have a Walter Jorgensen followed by a Mitch Dietz. We have Walter.
Walter, I'm looking for a Walter. Mitch, do you want to testify? We're waiting for Walter. Oh, never mind. If you could we just wanted you to stand up, Mitch, and then sit back down. Thank you, Mitch. We all know who you are now. Thank you so much. Great to see you. Walter.
Did you really call my name? Okay.
You got the time, sir.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and council members. My name is Walt Jorgensen. I live at 823 North Street, Southeast in Tumwater, and I have 10 acres of trees on Brooks Lane, just south of the airport. Many years ago, I had the honor of serving on the Tumwater City Council. So this is familiar territory. I know how seriously you take your responsibility to this community, and I appreciate the work you do. I'm here tonight because I'm deeply concerned about the proposed Bar Holdings UGA swap. When I served on council, one of the clearest principles we followed was this: urban growth areas exist to keep urban development inside cities and to protect rural and resource lands outside cities. That principle still matters. The UGA swap that moves development outward undermines the very purpose of having an urban growth boundary in the first place. Tumwater has spent years planning for compact growth, infill, and redevelopment inside the existing UGA. That is where the public investments have been made, and that's where the infrastructure already exists and where growth belongs. Once the city starts making exceptions and moving the line, it becomes easier to do again and again. Over time, that's how sprawl happens. I also want to say something about process. When I served, major decisions like this were debated openly within the county with the council fully involved. I'm encouraged that this proposal is before you tonight for discussion. That's the right place for it. From my perspective, there is no compelling public need for Tumwater to support this swap. It does not increase housing supply. It just changes where the new housing supply gets built, putting it further away from jobs and schools. This boundary change creates long-term fiscal, environmental, and planning consequences that cannot be undone. I urge you to take the cautious path. Please oppose the Bar Holdings UGA swap. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jorgensen, and thank you for your service.
Hello, my name is Mitch Dietz. I own Coldwell Banker here in town. Our address is 3333 Capitol Boulevard South in Tumwater. I'm in favor of this project. My company's been invested in this community since 1968 and been located in Tumwater since 1987. There's a great need for affordable housing and commercial space in this area, and we are in need of additional resources as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Mitch.
Now I'll have a John Stormans followed by a Hunter Sipe.
Hello, my name is John Stormans. I support the proposed development. I think it'll be great for affordable housing and an awesome place for kids to hang out and use the Y. Thank you.
Thank you, John. I think that's the fastest ever. That was great. Hunter, you got to be what John just did.
Yes. Hi, thank you for having me. My name's Hunter Sipe, 8425 Marie Street. My wife and I, we live right down the way from this project, and we have a 7-month-old daughter, and we're trying to figure out, where we want to live. We want to grow our family, and this community is so important to us. And having the resources out there, having affordable housing out there, and just having more resources for us to really, cherish and allow us to flourish in this community is going to be so massive for the success. So I'm in fully support of this project, and Michael Brewer and Rob Rice are amazing leaders in our community, and we would follow them wherever. So thank you.
Thank you, Hunter. Congratulations. And you spoke longer than John.
Okay, I'm to my last page. Brett Clubb, followed by Jennifer Ackerman.
My name is Brett Clubb. I live in unincorporated Thurston County, and I appreciate the opportunity to come before you and share my perspective and comments. I had a whole thing written, but thankfully someone else covered it all. So I'm going to talk about the YMCA, which I'm a huge fan of. I mean, who's not a fan of the YMCA? I got to coach my kids in basketball at the YMCA before they were old enough to play in middle school and high school. And it was a wonderful experience for the whole family, for many, many families. I don't know a single person that would oppose having a YMCA in their community. It's a no-brainer if you're a developer trying to sell the public and a council on an idea. Dangle what everybody loves. There it is right there. But there's no guarantee. Has anybody seen a single document, a single piece of paper, a memorandum of understanding, a contract between the YMCA and Bar Holdings that says if we are able to build, we guarantee there will be a YMCA? I haven't seen it. I don't know if you all have seen it. I don't know if the people have at the Y and the Bar Holdings folks have ever written such a document. I'd certainly love to see it because that would actually convince me that they're not just dangling this peach out there for us, that luscious, juicy, beautiful peach, that YMCA that everybody loves. And then, like Lucy with the football, as soon as everyone signs on, they pull it away and build whatever they want. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you, Brett, for putting that song in my head and reminding me I haven't had dinner yet.
So next we'll have a Jennifer Ackerman. And then after that was a Dean Ackerman. Next I'll go to Patrick Thorne. Lawrence Jacobson. Andy Jacobson. Rob Denning. Aria Gunderson.
Ari,
sorry. And then the last one's an Annie Downing, I think. Yeah. Yeah. We're just going to make sure nobody's in the lobby first. And then we can invite anybody that isn't listed, or if I didn't say your name, but if you would like to speak, please come up to the podium. Well, I think you can go after.
Okay. I did sign up on a piece of paper and waited a long time for that. My name is Gianna Wiley. I live in unincorporated Thurston County, 7740 Normandy Street Southeast. And I ask you to please consider opposing the Bar Holdings UGA. I'm really familiar with the land that they want to swap out, which is out near Black Lake. It floods a lot. I had a horse out there. There's places there you just can't ride most of the year. And so to swap that land out, oh, and the county's also said it's unbuildable land, or the Bar Holdings land, which is buildable. Sure, you could pave over it and do all of that stuff and build right away on it and have some nice stuff going on. However, as Bar Holdings is going to be swapped into the UGA, it's not an equal swap. And my understanding is that these two parcels should be equal. They certainly aren't, because it removes land that can't be realistically be developed in urban densities and replaces it with land that can. And this increases development capacity, which is the problem, something that the swap statute is not supposed to allow. So it seems, I mean, how are you going to work around that? I also wanted to mention something about the Bar Holdings property. It is a CARA 1, Critical Aquifer Recharge Area, and it's rated as extreme. So it goes extreme, moderate, low. This is extreme. The Black Lake property is moderate. And I tell you, I couldn't ride my horse on it. So the extreme aspect of this CARA 1 land, or CARA extreme land, is that it's all glacial outfill. So the permeability of it is so easy. Anything that goes down into that land, say it runs off the street and goes into like somewhere on that piece of property, it can get to the Deschutes River quickly. And I did speak with the county hydrologist who verified and said everything that I'm saying right now. Someone else claimed that they said it wasn't a problem. It is a problem because it feeds directly into the Deschutes. Okay, and it also feeds directly into all those aquifers like Springer Lake and all of that down below. And I live out there, I'm on a well. So anyway, so bad for legal compliance, the swap, because it increases developable capacity, and bad for groundwater protection because it urbanizes that CARA extreme land.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your patience as well.
Oh yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for the extra time.
Yeah, that was on us. If you want to submit more of your testimony, please don't hesitate to email it so we have all of it. Yeah, so send all of it so it's documented. Thank you.
And now I would invite anybody else that didn't sign up, or maybe if I already called your name, but please come to the podium and say your name.
And apologies if we didn't say your name. We're just saving the best for last.
Yes.
Got lost. I'm Diane King, and I live in Lacey, but I've had land here for almost, in Tumwater for almost 30 years, and I've also lived in the area for over 80 years. So I'm quite interested in what's happening to the whole area for all these years that I've been here. In the past, Mayor, I heard that you would like Tumwater to become more like Port Townsend, but a place like a vibrant, walkable town center, local businesses, housing near the surfaces, and a strong sense of place. This vision resonates with many people in the room. But places like Port Townsend don't become beloved communities by expanding outward. They become great places by growing inward. And I actually have some land which around me, quite a few people have too, that is buildable for the infill. Anyway, the focus on compact development, infill, and mixed-use neighborhoods and reinvestments in the core is what we really want. These places build places where people can live near shops, schools, jobs, and civic life, not miles away. So if Tumwater truly wants to be a vibrant town center, the path is clear. Must prioritize compact growth existing inside the UGA. They must invest in infill, redevelopment, and middle housing. It must focus around existing commercial areas, involve them in a real town center over time. You have a rare opportunity. You can help steer Tumwater toward that kind of compact, fiscally responsible, and people-centered growth that creates a long-lasting legacy of a city that chooses long-term community value over short-term boundary expansion. I respectfully ask you and the council to either oppose the Bar Holdings UGA swap or at a minimum, remove your supportive language from the draft letter. Thank you for your attention.
Diane, that was perfectly timed. Thank you.
Skipped a couple things, but I'm just going to give you.
Yes, please submit the rest so we don't lose that. Thank you, Diane.
And now at this time, I would still invite anybody else that hasn't spoke yet. If you would like to speak, please come up to the podium and say your name.
I don't see anyone running towards the podium. So we are going to close public comment. and continue on with number 5 of our agenda. Council, are we ready? We're moving on to the consent calendar. Does anyone want any item removed from the consent calendar? Seeing no facial expressions from my seatmates, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar.
So moved.
Got a motion from Councilmember Jefferson. Do I have a second?
Second.
Got a second from Councilmember Agabe. Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the consent calendar, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. We're moving on to item number 6. We're going to now conduct a public hearing on R 2026-003 in support of Tumwater School District number 33, Proposition number 1, Replacement Safety, Technology, and Capital Improvements Levy. There is a sign-in sheet available on the table next to the door for those individuals wishing to give testimony. Staff will make a presentation and answer any questions from council. Following that staff report, I will open the hearing for public testimony. We have City Administrator Paul Simmons.
Good evening, Mayor Dahlhoff and council members. This will be a very brief staff report. The voters of the Tumwater School District are currently considering a replacement safety, technology, and capital improvement levy. The city council is considering passing a resolution of endorsement. When you do that, and prior to passing any endorsement, you need to hold a public hearing and give the voters an opportunity to speak either for or against it. So happy to answer any questions and encourage you to move forward with the hearing. And we know we have representatives from the Tumwater School District, and there may be others here that wish to comment as well.
Thank you, Administrator Simmons. Council, do you have any questions for staff? Seeing none, we're going to now take public testimony.
Okay, at this time, we will receive public testimony. When I call your name, please come up to the podium, speak into the microphone, and state your name and address for the record. Please limit your mark to, are we doing 2 or 3 minutes?
We're going to stick with 2 because it's almost 9 o'clock.
Okay, 2 minutes, and please keep your testimony relevant to the subject of the public hearing. Do you have the sign-in sheet?
Does someone have the sign-in sheet? I mean, I think we know who our first speaker is.
Yes.
Superintendent.
I didn't sign up. Hello, I'm Kevin Bogerton, Superintendent of the Tumwater School District. Also live in the Tumwater School District property next to your previous topic that you're talking about. So I live in that community. That is a great opportunity just to come to talk to you. I'm really not giving a for or against, because that's really, as superintendent, I'm really here just for informational. So I'll just give you just some quick brief details of this. This is a replacement levy, 6 years, $49 million. It is, we have aging infrastructures in the Tumwater School District, and so these are going to some essential projects in all of our schools. So there's projects across all 13 of our schools. In addition, technology obviously is a big part of our children's lives. So all of our technology replacement needs are incorporated in this, as well as a bunch of safety, which is an ongoing concern for our kids and staff and community. And lastly, I'll just mention, there's some other new things in this. We are upgrading, we kind of live in a little rainy area, so this has covered play areas that are also ADA accessible for our kids in wheelchairs at all of our 6 elementary schools. So kind of some covered play areas, as well as improvements at 3 of our schools that don't have a gym. And so again, kind of offering a multi-purpose room or gym, and so we'll work those out in our 3 schools. And lastly, it does do some improvements. If you drive your kids to school, probably experience the backups that go out into the Tumwater kind of roadways. So this levy also tries to address, I don't think we're going to fully fix all of our problems, but the goal is to improve those kind of in and out of our schools to make that as easy, accessible, efficient as possible. So I'm glad to take any questions. I appreciate the opportunity to just come and share some of these projects with you. And I know there's a lot of people in this community doing a lot of hard work on the yes side of this. And so I appreciate everyone's efforts.
Thank you, Superintendent. Council, any questions for the superintendent since he waited 2 hours here? Anyone?
My pleasure.
I mean, you don't have to. Okay, no questions. Thank you. Well done.
Hello.
Please state your name.
Dr. Melissa Beard from Tumwater School Board, class of 1991. The best
94
class-
bet year.
Thanks.
94.
I'm here to ask for your support. Everyone should have received their ballots. I'm allowed to say this. You all received a mailer. You should have received your ballots. I hope you've already turned it in. If you haven't already, please remember to vote before the 10th. So Kevin covered all of the basics of the levy, but I'm just here to say I don't want to pretend that we haven't had some controversies. But as a board member, I've seen firsthand that investing in our schools is where we find common ground. The levy isn't about politics or controversy. It's about concrete improvements that every parent, regardless of their other views, hold on. I'll let you guys know what's going on. There's someone else who didn't get to speak during the public comment. So regardless of their views, wants for their children, safe buildings, modern technology, and facilities that actually work. Research consistently shows that communities with strong schools see stronger property values, attract young families, and build economic resilience. When we invest in our schools, we invest in Tumwater's future. And as your school board, we've worked hard to be responsible stewards of taxpayer resources. This replacement levy represents our commitment to maintaining the infrastructure and tools our students need without asking for more than what our community is already providing. Thank you for your time and for your partnership with the school board.
Thank you, Dr. Beard. And I believe we have someone else who'd like to testify.
Yes, we have a Lila Slove.
My name is Lila Slove. I am a student at Tumwater Middle School. I am here to discuss the Tumwater Middle School anti-ICE protest that happened last week and the one that is expected to happen tomorrow and our demands for it. Our first demand is equal accountability under the law. In our legal system, no one is supposed to be above the law. If a civilian uses deadly force unlawfully, they are investigated and face criminal consequences. Federal immigration agents should be held to that same standard when they cause serious harm or death. When agents face no repercussions, it creates a double standard that weakens the rule of law. Equal accountability is essential for justice and public trust. And our other demand is respect for Washington's community protection laws. Washington has enacted to limit local participation in federal immigration enforcement to protect residents' rights. These laws exist to prevent unlawful detention, racial profiling, and constitutional violations. Federal agencies should respect state and local policies designed to keep communities safe. When enforcement relies on fear and intimidation, community trust is damaged. We ask this council to uphold Washington's commitment to civil rights and constitutional protections for all residents. In closing, I want to remind this council that immigration enforcement is not an abstract policy debate. It is something that shapes real lives every single day in our community. Families are left in constant uncertainty, never knowing if a parent, sibling, or loved one will be taken away without warning. That uncertainty creates fear, instability, and trauma that does not disappear when enforcement actions end. It lingers in homes, relationships, and across entire neighborhoods. A system that causes this much harm demands scrutiny and accountability. Students like us are told to focus on school and building our futures and on learning how to become contributing members of society. But instead, many of us carry the daily fear that a parent or relative may not be there when we get home. That fear does not stay behind closed doors. It follows us to classrooms, onto buses, and into our daily lives. It affects our ability to learn, to concentrate, and to feel safe. No student should have to choose between their education and worrying about whether their family will be torn apart. We are asking this council to recognize that constitutional rights, due process, and accountability are not optional. They are essential to justice and community safety. When enforcement operates without transparency or consequences, it damages trust and harms the very people local governments are meant to protect. Standing up for these principles is not radical, it's responsible leadership. We urge you to reaffirm Washington's commitment to the Constitution, to civil rights, and to the dignity of every family in our city. Our futures, our families, and our community depends on it.
First, Layla, you're a rock star. Thank you. And I know it's late, but do you have capacity and interest to meet with our chief, Carlos Quiles, and he can update you on some things like his message and things that we're doing in the city of Tumwater? Do you have capacity to stay a few minutes and talk to our chief?
Yes.
Thank you. And never hesitate to come here and with your friends. You're always welcome. And thank you.
Thank you.
So chief, if you could not be awkward about it, but just you're in the back, Lila's in the front. If you want to go out in the lobby, Lila, if you want to go out in the lobby and talk to the chief. Thank you, Lila. Appreciate it.
And now I would like to invite anybody else to speak that would like to speak to the public hearing or proposition. And I do apologize, the wrong board got passed around.
Joel Hanson, you are not going to that microphone. Joel Hanson, please proceed.
Yes, Joel Hanson, Port Commissioner, District 4. The work of ports in Washington State is economic development. A key component of economic development is workforce development. Workforce development starts with world-class schools. I urge you to support this resolution in support of the levy. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Hanson.
And now I will just ask one last time if there's anybody else in the chambers that would like to speak to this public hearing. I think that ends public comment for the public hearing.
Okay. I'll close the hearing. Well, you didn't have questions in the first place, so I'm not going to ask you if you have additional questions. You have an option. You can make a motion and have someone second it and have a discussion. You make a motion in for or against. It is council's purview. Your mics are hot.
I move we support the resolution as presented in support of Tumwater School District Replacement, Safety Technology, and Capital Improvements Levy.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a motion from Councilmember Sutphin, and we had a unison second from Councilmember Jefferson and Councilmember Whedon. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. We are now on to council considerations. 7A, resolution number R2026-001, updating greenhouse gas emission reduction targets. Alyssa.
Good evening. I'll try to be quick because it is literally past my bedtime.
Mine too.
But I'm happy to see so much democracy in action tonight. I am Alyssa Joneswood. I am the Sustainability Manager for the City of Tumwater, and I have a resolution which is both very exciting and also paperwork that's trying to get consistent targets. So Melody, I believe I sent a PowerPoint. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Everyone, that's Melody walking in front of you who helped with public comment. She's amazing. Please, Alyssa,
Indeed.
continue.
Indeed. So the resolution before the City Council tonight is a resolution to adopt updated greenhouse gas emission reduction goals to be in line with the state goals. Because we have so many people, how can I not take the opportunity to explain what greenhouse gas emissions are, just to make sure everyone's on the same page. Speaking of page, this is a page from a journal in 1856 by Eunice Foote, the woman who discovered the greenhouse effect that identified that certain gases made the atmosphere warmer. We've known this since 1856. We still keep putting greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. The atmosphere doesn't care where they come from, just how much and how much it can handle before it starts killing us. I shouldn't have said that. But greenhouse gases are a number of different gases, including water vapor, carbon dioxide, the one that you probably hear about the most, methane. Those are gases that trap heat in the atmosphere and cause increased average global temperature rise. In jurisdictions and businesses, there are ways of counting the greenhouse gas concentration and the contributions to it. There are 3 scopes, and I put this up here because our mayor always asks me about one of them, and I wanted to make sure everyone knew what she was talking about. So scope 1 are direct emissions, so that's literally what comes out of the tailpipe of your car while you drive around in Tumwater, the emissions from the energy that you burn to keep your home warm or cool, electricity, things that happen that are accountable within the boundary. Then there's scope 2, which is purchased energy emissions. There's a lot of energy that's lost in transmission and distribution. That's counted for here. And then scope 3, which we don't currently count for City of Tumwater or Thurston County, but some very cool places do, like mostly Oregon. They do scope 3, sometimes referred to as consumption-based emissions. So that's like the emissions that went into making this and getting it to me. That needs to be accounted for somewhere. That's a scope 3 emissions. Right now, here in Tumwater and in Thurston County, we focus on scope 1 and 2, the things that happen in our boundaries and the things that bring the things to our boundaries that are the direct emissions. All right, so that was your science lesson. What I'm proposing is that hopefully council is willing to adopt the goal to reduce community-wide greenhouse gas emissions to be net zero by 2050 using a 2022 baseline. This is a science-based target. This is a fair share. Actually, it's less than a fair share in terms of the United States contributions to global climate change, but this is a state target and we want to be consistent with that. We have a number of different plans. The Thurston Climate Mitigation Plan, which is a regional climate plan. We have our climate element, which absorbs a lot of the Thurston Climate Mitigation Plan actions and other actions that are yet to be determined. There are cool old techniques, new techniques that can help us with greenhouse gas emission reduction, and I'm leaving space for there to be things that happen in the coming years that are helpful that I don't know of yet. Why am I suggesting this? Because we have some old documents that say one target and some new documents that say another, and I just want to set the record straight and have a document that says our actual target so it's not confusing. So that's where the paperwork part comes in. Thurston County got this emissions inventory from Department of Commerce for free, and they plan on doing one for each 5 years for the county. And this is what's called a wedge analysis. These darker colors at the top, so actually let me start with the line. The black line is the amount of emissions that we'll have if we continue to do business as usual, if we don't do any actions. The red dots and line at the bottom is what we really need to do. So you can see quite a drastic change there. But the darker colors, the solid colors, those are state and federal actions that help us get to those goals that have already been passed. So we don't have to do this alone. The kind of dotted lighter colors are local actions. Some of those are within our ability and our jurisdiction, some are not. But that will help us get to that goal. Yes, there is a gray part there at the bottom. That's stuff we don't know yet. That's a gap that we still need to fill, that we will hopefully have good ideas, old ideas, new ideas to help us kind of get all the way there. Some people like bar graphs, so I put in a bar graph. This is also our emissions and our targets, hopefully, with the red line being the targets, our baseline being that super tall aspect there, and there are lots of things that contribute to what ends up being our greenhouse gas load coming from the city boundary. Another, in case people don't like wedge or bar charts, this is mostly to speak to the scale at which we really need to make these changes. You can see for some of these that it's like increase local solar, or if that's existing, electrify existing buildings. My glasses aren't doing well enough. By 2050, we need to have 95% of those buildings electrified in order to meet that. So it's not a small thing, it's a very large thing, but it will also help people who are having a hard time affording their utility bills. If you have a more efficient home, you're paying hopefully less, depending on the rates. But there are a lot of things in here that the city does have control over, some that we don't. And all that we do have control over, we have policies, plans, and actions in our climate element to help us get there. So the how we get to this big target is we've already laid the road. We will do that. Now we just want to have clear documents saying exactly to what goal are we reaching for. And this is my favorite tool that I bring up every time I come before council. It's MIT's Climate En-ROADS. If you ever want me to do a really fun, nerdy work session about it, please let me know. This is a useful tool for the public also to really get a feel for the extent of the scale that we need to make changes in order to meet greenhouse gas emission reduction goals to keep our planet happy and healthy for everybody on Earth. Right now, we're slated towards a 3.3 degrees centigrade increase in average global temperature. Remember when it was trying to be at 1.5 or 2? That's still a goal, but we're not trending towards that direction. We need to make a lot of changes. The spoiler for this is that everything needs to be done to the maximum extent possible for us to get close to 1.5. It's everything, it's not just one. I often get the question of why should we care about City of Tumwater emissions? It's a global problem. What about China? What about India? What about all sorts of different things? We can't do this forever. We all have to do our part. It's a global problem, needs global and local solutions. And the cool thing about climate work is that often it has co-benefits that improve our community anyway, that make life better for people in our community, make it more livable, better air quality for all the kids with asthma, or future kids with asthma, or adults with asthma, for instance. So I've been having this comic at my desk for the past 10 years, and it's still legit, and I still bring it to City Council. So even if you don't believe in climate change, these things will make life better for our residents. And we try to make sure that there are less burdens, more benefits for all the actions that I bring forward. So I anticipated a question, what about regional climate work? Don't you have a regional climate plan? Isn't this different than the goals that you all decided? Yes, but we all are now needing state mandated goals. So it's above and beyond, so we'll still hopefully reach those goals and reach these new ones as well. I'm trying to be fast. Like I said, it's past my bedtime, but this is a fun topic, so I apologize. We've been on a timeline for some time. The Thurston Climate Mitigation Plan was accepted by City Council in 2020, 2021. The baseline year, if we adopt this new, if you all adopt, you're the ones with the power, adopt this resolution to have new greenhouse gas emission goals, our baseline year would be 2022, where in the past it's been 2018, so that is a shift. And we would be using the Department of Commerce inventory, which will then be provided again for free in 5 years to help us. Normally, these greenhouse gas emission inventories, if we did them for City of Tumwater ourselves, it would be at least $20,000. So this is really helpful. In 2022, you hired me, full-time sustainability staff. We now have a sustainability office of 3, which is awesome. One of which is a Civic Spark, another is grant funded, and then there's me. But we've been working hard at meeting these goals, working on these projects, these policies since 2022. In 2025, y'all adopted the climate element, which is our roadmap of how do we get there. And in 2030, greenhouse gas inventory from Commerce should come out looking at 2027. I anticipated that I might get a question. How are we doing on our goals now? Why should we have higher goals if we're not doing so great on the goals now? We only have an inventory of the most recent for 2022, so that's before you had full-time staff at the city working on these, and very soon after we had the adopted or accepted plan. So we will see more progress in the upcoming inventory and inventories to come. Sometimes there's a lagging effect, kind of like, there's not a good metaphor, but I'll use, sometimes when you have an alcoholic beverage and it takes a while for you to feel it, it's like that for the atmosphere and greenhouse gases. So I have a recommended action to adopt resolution number R 2026-001, updating greenhouse gas emission reduction targets via City Council considerations. And just noting that this was brought before Public Works Committee January 22nd. I tried to put it on consent, but they really wanted me to give you the full presentation. So here it is.
I love that. Councilmember Jefferson.
Yes, as the new committee chairperson, I would like to say that we had the discussion whether it's going to be consideration or consent, and we've invested heavily in sustainability. And Alyssa and her team has been doing a great job. I know Joan loved her trees. I know my mayor is a scientist, so they wanted to hear this. So hence why it's on considerations. Thank you.
Of course.
Thank you, Councilmember Jefferson. We have a hand from Councilmember Kathy in the virtual world.
Thank you. Thank you. I just wanted to ask a quick question that may be answered over time, or Alyssa and I can talk about it some other time or place. But I am discouraged by what's happening from the federal government, and that's going to impact some of these goals. And I'm wondering if we're taking that into consideration, clean air, clean water, many of the green things that were done in the last administration literally have been torn down, torn away. How do you see that affecting this between now and 2030? Do you see it?
Yes, I do see it causing hardship in terms of us finding funding. Normally, I am juggling between 6 and 8 grants from either the federal government or the state government. Right now, I have 0. Actually, no, I have one that pays for our urban forester, which is a federal grant, which we were allowed to keep. But I have less opportunities to apply for to help us with funding. There are a lot of things that we can do at low or no cost. There are definitely things that need to be part of that large scale response that do take financial inputs. Thankfully, we still have Climate Commitment Act, so it's not like we have nothing to apply for. But it is a harder road now that we do not have the IRA related funding.
Exactly. And I'm wondering, do you think that is going to impact like the reports you gave tonight? I mean, are we going to see some of these changes in climate reports between now and 2030?
Yes, some of those state and federal actions that were estimated on this slide here on the wedge analysis have been undermined, and we have more room that we need to make up in terms of either local actions, future actions by the federal or the state government. The clean emissions from vehicles being, and mile per gallon standards being one example.
I appreciate you continuing to, encourage people who have made some changes and still need to or are working toward those. Because on one hand, you're hearing what is being taken away and what the current administration doesn't believe in. And I've talked to, people who've worked hard on some of these things in their life and made changes, and we're still advocating for that. While over there, we're hearing this is a bunch of hooey. So keep at it and keep finding some of these ways that you do so well and in keeping it alive. But I think in some of your reports, be realistic. Don't keep some of the depressing things away from us. So we keep trying hard to stay with this climate action. So great job. Appreciate it a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Kathy. Councilmember Jefferson.
Can I make the motion?
I would love for you to make a motion.
Okay, I move that we adopt resolution number R2026-001, updating greenhouse gas emissions reduction targets.
Second.
I have a motion from Angela Jefferson and a second from Councilmember Kathy. Any discussion?
I'd just like to say thank you for your time, effort put into that.
Thanks for setting ambitious and science-based goals.
Any other compliments for Alyssa? Okay.
I didn't have any food. I couldn't figure out any food.
Lasagna.
I thought about
There's
putting
a-
a wedge salad with the wedge analysis, but I really couldn't
Oyster
land
lettuce.
it.
Stop talking about food.
Councilmember Sullivan.
Thank you for your work and for staying up past your bedtime.
Thank you. I'm going to go sleep now. Good night.
Are we ready for a vote? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you so much, Alyssa. Next, we have item 7B, Salish Landing County Amendment Letter. Brad, what do you got for us?
Great. I'm not sure if you're very familiar with this topic.
I haven't really heard anything about it tonight.
So just a little bit of background. The council was briefed on this item last week, and a lot of the items in this particular presentation are in response to council questions. It is not a thorough examination of the potential amendment of it by any means. It is really a means of trying to address some of the comments and concerns the council had. So again, the intent of tonight's presentation is to talk a little bit again about the background of the request and the application review process, really focus in on the opportunities for public engagement, talk a little bit about the general review process and the approximate timeline for that, and also talk about the requested action by the council at tonight's meeting. So again, the summary of the requests. This is part of the 2026-27 Thurston County Comprehensive Plan preliminary docket process. The Board of County Commissioners is considering whether to keep this particular amendment on the docket. As part of their docketing process, the Board of County Commissioners has requested a letter from the mayor indicating the Tumwater's support for the proposed amendment and for the amendment to remain on the county docket for review and action. Just a little background on what the docketing process means. Under the Growth Management Act, Tumwater may consider amendments to their comprehensive plans no more than once per year. All annual applications initiated by the community and the city are considered together as part of the docketing process. City Council's review of the preliminary docket is the first step in Tumwater's docketing process, and the council determines which applications it wants to see continue through the application review process through this as part of the final docket, as part of this docketing process. The county docketing process is very similar. However, unlike Tumwater's process, the county's process is every 2 years rather than annually. In the first quarter of this year, for example, the County Board of Commissioners will be approving their preliminary docket for the next couple of years. The county's preliminary docket considers both new applications and continuing applications submitted in previous docketing cycles. So there could be things that have been on there for a bit that are now being asked to be continued to be kept on the docket. The application and discussion was originally filed with the county in 2021. As we've talked about this, the amendment will affect Tumwater's urban growth area and also the city's and the county's joint plan. The application was amended by the applicant in 2023 to include a proposed growth area swap that would take part of Tumwater's current growth area out and add a new area. Proposed areas are shown here. The upper corner is in the northwest is the area that would be removed. The area in the far corner and the southeast is the area that would be added. Yellow line is our current city boundaries. Red line is our urban growth area. This is just a close-in view of both of the proposed areas. A little bit of background about where Tumwater and its urban growth area is going in terms of its planning. According to our comprehensive plan, which was updated in 25, the city and its urban growth area need to accommodate the following state mandated growth by 2045, over 9,000 new housing units, over 17,000 new people, and over 10,000 new jobs. A little bit of background on the current location of the city's water system. Again, the blue line, which you can see faintly, is the area where the current water system is. The area where the proposed area to be removed is on the other side of the Black Lake ditch for the most part, but is also separated by a fair amount of distance from the existing water system, either to the south or to the north, even if further development occurs to the south. Water system to the southeast, there is a current system at Bradbury, which is the far corner of the yellow area in the city. There isn't anything else aside from what you're seeing in the solid blue areas. Sewer, very similar kind of picture. In the area that's being removed, the sewer lines are generally where the water lines are, a little bit less, but about the same. Similar situation here with the sewer system in the southeast. Some planned city water system improvements. This is with or without this proposed development. There is an area that you see sort of at the very corner in the very bottom southeast corner. That's a blue squiggly line. That is where the new city facility for the water tower is going, water storage facility. There will be a connection made to the main city system. There are a couple options that are being considered as part of that. One is to go to the west, and the other is to follow that pink line, which is probably the line that is being considered currently. That would connect up from 93rd up Old Highway 99. What the ultimate best option from the water department would be to have a loop system, meaning that there would be the capacity for multiple ways for water from that reservoir to reach the main system, and also make sure there's not a issue with water quality by having a dead end on the system. A little bit of background of what's currently in our southeast urban growth area. Melody Pines has been discussed tonight. That is the area that is right adjacent to our existing city area. There are Tumwater School District properties currently within our UGA on 93rd, immediately south of that residential development called Bradbury. That square is also Tumwater properties, but also there is a triangular piece right at the corner of 93rd and Old Highway 99. The school district is currently looking at adding a elementary school on one of their properties in the next 5 years to meet demand. It is in their current capital facilities plan. Also, I wanted to point out that the current zoning for that entire triangle that is currently within the UGA is multifamily medium density. So there was a question at the work session from council members regarding the comment letters that the city had provided the county already on this particular project in 21, 23, and 24. The 21 comment letter, at that time, the application was an expansion of the county's UGA. It did not include a reduction in any way, which is why the city did not support it, because it was going to expand the urban growth area that had sufficient capacity as had already been demonstrated. In February of 23, this was after the amended application had been filed with the county that introduced the UGA swap. The mayor had provided a letter to the county that indicated that Tumwater is in favor of the proposed amendment because it could provide services closer to the hundreds of single-family housing units already in southern Tumwater, include a space for a YMCA, and would help extend water and sewer facilities to a planned Tumwater School District Elementary School in the area. The letter, I also noted that processing the application would take significant city and county resources. A letter was also provided in March of 24, from the mayor. At the time, the mayor also indicated support for the urban growth area, this time calling on the mixed use vision that was there, and also called on the potential for reducing miles traveled and congestion and so forth. The letter again noted the process in the application would take significant city and county resources, but also stated that the city would like to work with the county on an agreement to address future development in the amendment area. Which brings us to the community engagement process. I would like to point out, as has been indicated at the discussion today, the city council meeting is just the beginning of the public process for Tumwater's consideration if the council chooses to take action. It is one step in a series of opportunities for the community to engage with both the city and the county on this particular application. There's an approximate timeline, identifies some of the processes that will be gone through before a decision is reached. We'll go through that a little bit, and that each of those steps will involve opportunities for public engagement. So I'd like to share this approximate timeline. These are some of the things that city staff has identified. It may not include all of the potential steps that are going to be coming up. The timeline is divided up into quarters. There are two actions within the first quarter of this year. One is the county docketing process. Again, the commission has requested Tumwater to provide a letter supporting the amendment to remain on the docket. Council will be considering that particular proposal, and then the commissioners will be expected to approve the docket, depending upon the city's action by March. There's also another action that's currently occurring right now. In 22 and 24, the state legislature established two different sets of urban growth area swap criteria in the RCW. The state legislature is currently considering a new bill this year that will bring those two sets of criteria into greater alignment. That's important because there's been a bit of uncertainty amongst the staff and others about what exactly are we looking at when we want to evaluate this particular thing. Action is expected because this is a short session by March. Starting in the second quarter, presuming the city council takes action tonight and the county also continues the application and the docketing process, the expectation is that under county direction, the applicant is expected to approve a consultant contract to prepare a SEPA environmental impact statement for the amendment. That's important because the SEPA review will include analyses of water, sewer, transportation, code guidelines, as well as all of the critical areas and other considerations that have been discussed tonight. The SEPA review process establishes a very formal public engagement process and comment periods. It establishes deadlines for review, how comments are received, and more importantly, how comments are responded to. They're acknowledged and also incorporated into the process. If the state legislature takes action on the urban growth swap legislation, that will be included as well as into the Thurston County's analysis of the amendment application. Hopefully by the third quarter of this year, the environmental impact statement process will be well underway. Also, another action is anticipated to occur if, again, the council takes action, is a city-county interlocal agreement. There would be, if the council decides to move forward, and this is added to the docket, work will be started on a draft of an interlocal agreement between the city and the county that will address amendment review and approval process and responsibilities, annexation, revenue sharing, public engagement, and other issues as needed. That is another opportunity for the community and the council to take a very direct role in how this application is looked at and address any concerns that the city may have in terms of what needs to be looked at. Also, as part of that third quarter is a applicant and city developer agreement. We've heard comments about the concern that what is being proposed is an actual development in concept. What can be tied to that as part of the review? The development agreement is really a way to ensure that what is being proposed is something that can come to fruition and establish conditions for that. So it would address the development proposal zoning and the process. It will talk about utility and transportation improvements and those kinds of things. Again, this is another thing that will come before the council for their review and approval. Fourth quarter and onward will be the county review processes for the amendment application. It is expected that the draft and the final SEPA environmental impact statement will be issued. The county will be completing their review of the application. The application was part of the larger 26-27 county docket, as well as our docket, which the council will be having a discussion of at the next meeting. If the process holds, generally what has been discussed is a joint meeting with the city and the county planning commissions. There would be a public hearing at the planning commission level, and there would be planning commissions would issue a recommendation on the joint plan amendment, of which this particular amendment would be a part of. The Urban Growth Management Sub-Area Committee will review proposed boundaries and provide a recommendation in turn to the County Board of Commissioners that is made up of elected representatives from all jurisdictions in the county. It's a process that the Thurston Regional Planning Council runs. The council will in turn review the Planning Commission's recommendations and in turn make its own recommendation to the Board of County Commissioners on the joint plan amendment. There have been discussions of a potential joint meeting. That would be something I think we could work out as part of an interlocal agreement about how that may occur. And then finally, it is up to the County Board of Commissioners to review the City Council's recommendation and make their own decision on the application as part of the joint plan amendment. So there are a lot of steps in the process. There are a lot of steps in the process for community to be involved in the decision-making process. The requested action tonight is to authorize the mayor to sign the letter, which was recommended for approval at the council at their January 26th work session. I would also like to present a alternative letter that had been drafted at the request of some of the council members prior to the meeting. So there will be two letters before the council to discuss. One is the letter that is in the packet, and the next letter, Melody, if you could bring that up.
Council, you all saw that email, right, before council? It's too many councils in there, but there was an email.
I'm fine, I didn't say.
I happen to have a printout, Councilmember Covey, if you'd like to look at it.
That's fine.
Thank you, Melody. So the letter is substantially the same as what you have already seen. Melody, could you scroll down? The only areas that have changed in the letter are the ones that are in yellow highlight, which are on the third page. The first part under City of Tumwater's position, the yellow is all new language that replaces the language that was in your packet. I'll read it out. The Tumwater Mayor and City Council supports the Board of County Commissioners keeping the Bar Holdings LLC amendment on the 2026-27 official county docket, as that amendment may, I'm sorry.
It's like, Melody, can you just,
Brad's
Brad's failing his vision test right now. Melody, if you could, can you make that a little bit larger?
Yes, for those of us whose eyes no longer can see in front of them. Thank you.
Thank you, Melody.
May be studied in a comprehensive public manner under the State Environmental Policy Act and the Thurston County Comprehensive Plan Amendment Process, which is Thurston County Code 2060, Administrative Procedures. The Tumwater Mayor and City Council believe by completing this process will provide the Board of County Commissioners, the city, and the community with a better understanding of the potential benefits and impacts of the amendment and allow the Board of County Commissioners to make an informed decision on the amendment application. The other change is in the conclusion, replaces the first sentence with the sentence that is highlighted in yellow. The mayor and city council recognize amendments such as this are complex and require comprehensive public analysis to allow both decision makers and the community to understand all the potential consequences before a final decision is made. So the decision for the council tonight is, first of all, do you support sending a letter to the council, to the commissioners? And if so, is it letter A or letter B? Or if it's some other combination thereof.
Council, thoughts? One moment. Peter Agabi, Councilmember Agabi.
So letter B added clarification in the conclusion area to what letter A was originally meant. Okay.
Correct.
So,
You got it, Councilmember Agabi.
thank you.
Councilmember Whedon.
First and foremost, I would like to say thank you for the community to come out and let your voices be heard. Very important as we move forward to be open, transparent, honest, and let everybody have a voice, be seen. Furthermore, I wanted to clarify that this is a process that we are voting on. We are not voting on if we like Salish Landing. If we don't, it is just to continue a process and let the process continue is what we are going to be voting on. I think that's it.
Councilmember Whedon, are you okay with option B?
Correct. Thank you.
And Councilmember Agabi is okay with option B because it's just clarifying letter A.
Yes.
Thank you. Councilmember Jefferson.
Yes. Also option B for me, but this was a serious vote. And when facing votes like this, I like to put my thoughts on paper. I know it's late, but here's my reasoning and here's my why. Number one, Tumwater is rapidly growing, and this growth is not temporary, as we saw on the slides tonight. We need to make decisions and provide housing for all income levels. There are a lot of previous homeowners who are in homes, and they purchased these homes for, well under 700,000, 500,000. The median listing price for houses today in Tumwater is between $540,000 and $575,000. We're talking $4,100 a month. So this development is needed. Also, this aligns with our planned transportation improvement. Intercity Transit has discussed with us that they do plan to provide buses to that area of town. Number 6, Tumwater job creation, increased revenue to our city and tax base. I also wanted to discuss, voting no will not stop growth because people like me will continue coming to Tumwater because Tumwater is a great place to be, to live and retire. They're moving into our urban growth area right there, and it's going to continue to move from rural to urban. So it's just a matter of time. If we vote no, it's going to come back up quickly. So with that, I choose to support, and I choose option B.
Thank you, Councilmember Jefferson. Thank you, Councilmember Agabi, again for starting the discussion. I see a virtual hand with Councilmember Kathy, and then I'll go to Councilmember Megan Sullivan, and then I have 2 statements from 2 other council members.
I have a couple of comments that I want to make about the hearing that I observed. Probably 80+%, 85 maybe, 90. People that spoke for this in favor of the Salish Landing were We're doing it because of the YMCA, because of the YMCA. It wasn't, I mean, many people gave no other reason. And some people, that was in their reasoning. I mean, that's just there, which, like the one gentleman at the end said, that's not even guaranteed. I mean, to build a whole YMCA, I remember when this last one happened. And I think that skewed really the community being able to think clearly about what's going on here. And I'm really concerned about lower income residents and what this does for what we're saying to them. And I doubt that anything that they're building out there house-wise or apartments or whatever is going to be reasonable and able to be purchased or lived in by low-income people. That's just not the focus of this. And we've tried for years and years and years to get the bus to just go to Black Lake High School. And it's fantasy to think that we're going to get bus service out there in any reasonable amount of time. And also, I don't even want to hear the number of trees that are going to just simply be cut down. Once again, urban areas are set aside to be just that. And I am going to vote no. I'm not in favor of this in any way, shape, or form. I don't think that we have discussed it, talked about it. Yeah, we've written all these letters over the years, but at a council level, this is the first time we have been able to speak our hearts and minds, and hopefully our, diligent work or looking into this, or the impact of it beyond just saying, oh, we need more housing and we need this and that. So we go and have to do a special thing to take away from our, protected urban or environmental areas. And I don't think we're making a wise long-term decision here. And I know people say, well, this isn't the final thing. It's not going to happen for a long time, or it's just to look at it and decide and see. I don't trust it. So I'm going to oppose.
Thank you, Councilmember Kathy. So in summary, Councilmember Kathy, you are generally opposed to the urban growth area swap as the concept.
Yes.
Got it. Thank you so much. Councilmember Sullivan.
Thank you to everybody who came out this evening. We have commented at each of my first few council meetings that the turnout has been remarkable. This blew the doors off. And I'm grateful for the impassioned testimony that everybody gave, including the young person. I think participation in the public process is how we learn and work together. I also would say that this is a complicated issue, and I appreciate staff making amendments to the draft letter so that we can utilize the process and have the professionals examine the issues that are, I don't have technical expertise in SEPA, but I trust that our professionals and staff can move this through a process and would support the amended letter that we received in our email today to move forward.
Thank you, Councilmember Sullivan. I have two statements, one from Councilmember Swarthout. Mayor Dahlhoff, council colleagues, city staff, and community members, I am excused this evening for a planned travel trip. However, wanted to submit my statement regarding the proposed letter to Thurston County about exploring a potential urban growth area land swap. Now, when I say I mean Eileen. I serve as Tumwater's representative to the Thurston Regional Planning Council. I also represent Tumwater on the Thurston Regional Planning Commission Urban Growth Area Subcommittee, which advises on UGA issues. Earlier in the process, at the August 19th, 2024 UGA subcommittee meeting, Tumwater expressed process concerns, asking to wait to work on UGA swap policies until work on the comprehensive plan had been completed. This was out of courtesy to our planning staff who were deep in work on the comprehensive plan and allowed time to address Senate Bill 5593 adopted in 2022 that required comprehensive plans to address specific specified planning elements, each of which is a subset of a comprehensive plan. Moving forward, I understand the concerns residents have expressed on this issue regarding development and preserving our rural areas. I have been following the comments and articles as well. As a council member, it is difficult to sit in this role, balancing the voices, facts, science that lead to hard decisions we are asked to make. I support moving forward with a proposed letter to the Thurston County Commissioners about exploring a potential urban area land swap. I trust our staff members. Staff prepared me for the UGA meeting in 2024 when Tumwater was not ready to move forward in the process. Staff has prepared us for the process to move forward now. It is not a decision to develop the land. It is not a commitment to a specific project. It is the decision whether we should explore the possibility further and allow the appropriate analysis, environmental review, and community engagement to be held before any decisions are made. Our pledge is to be transparent in our communication and process. Thank you for this opportunity to comment on this resolution before the council, and thank you for the community members who have shared their comments as well. The statement from Mayor Pro Tem Von Holtz. Thank you for reading, Mayor Dollhoff, thank you for reading the statement on my behalf. I apologize that I'm not able to be present for this discussion or the vote. Mayor Dollhoff, council colleagues, city staff, and community members. I want to share a few thoughts regarding the proposed letter to Thurston County about exploring a potential urban growth area land swap. I know this topic is emotional for many in our community. I have heard from residents who care deeply about preserving the rural character of this area, and I want you to know that I hear you and respect those concerns. Your voices matter and should be part of any conversation moving forward. What is before council tonight is not a decision to develop land, and it is not a commitment to a land swap. It is a decision about whether we should explore this possibility further and allow the appropriate analysis, environmental review, and community engagement to take place before any conclusions are drawn. The land the city could potentially swap away is already approved for development, but because of steep slopes and wetlands, it is not a practical or responsible place to build homes. At the same time, there are areas of our city where residents do not have easy access to city water and sewer, transit, schools, or childcare, and where a manufactured home community has limited opportunity to expand because of infrastructure constraints. Tumwater also has a state requirement to plan for approximately 9,000 additional homes over the next 20 years. We can either begin thoughtfully examining options now, or we can be forced into more reactive decisions later as that pressure increases. For me, supporting the exploration of this option is about asking an important question. Is there a way to meet our growth responsibilities while also improving access to services and infrastructure for people who already live here? If this moves forward, it will require SEPA review, environmental analysis, and meaningful community engagement. There'll be many opportunities for public input before any decisions are made. That process is thorough and intentional by design. My perspective on this is not about rushing towards development. It is about being willing to look at information, listen to our community, and determine what is ultimately right for the future of our city and the people who do now and who will in the future call it home. Kelly Von Holtz, Mayor Pro Tem. With that, I would entertain a motion to authorize the mayor to sign the amended letter.
So moved.
Got a motion from Councilmember Agabe. Do we have a second?
Second.
A second from Councilmember Whedon. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Thank you, Councilmember Kathy. Motion passes. How many are over here? 4? 5? 4 to 1. Oh my God. Okay, thank you. Pass 4 to 1. Thank you, everyone. We're moving on to item 7C, purchase agreement with Champion Home Center for T2 Fire Station temporary housing. Chief Hurley, can you do this in less than 30 seconds? So also, if you would like to leave, now is the opportunity to leave, and Chief Hurley will talk to no one in the audience.
Well, we'll make it brief here, but thank you for considering this item tonight. Melody put up just a few slides here. Just a brief introduction. I think you've all been down to Station 2, and if you haven't, please get a hold of me and we'll go down and show you what our current situation is there. With the new medic unit, we've historically had 3 staff there. With the new medic unit, we have 5, and it's not an ideal situation right now. The station wasn't designed to house that level of staffing and really doesn't meet our current fire service needs. Very limited privacy. We're using different areas of the station for housing that really weren't intended to. We're making it work, but we need another solution. So the immediate need, we need more space there. The future needs are, as we move forward with a plan to remodel that station, we'll need to take all the staff out of the building. during that process. And there'll be more forthcoming on that process. So right now, I'm going to turn it over to Chris Graham, the facilities manager, for a few comments about the solution we're proposing.
Thank you. Again, I'm Chris Graham, the facilities manager for the city of Tumwater. Let me see how this clicker works. I'm assuming, oh, there we go. Okay, so our proposed solution, just to give a little bit of background on this, we went and did a tour of West Pierce Fire District. They have a similar project going on. So this was what they came up with. So we kind of just mirrored their plan. It's a roughly 1,800 square foot, double wide manufactured home. We looked at other options throughout the process as far as leasing options and things like that. And we just came to the realization this was the most cost effective. This also just provides us with kind of a timeline that is indefinite. You know, getting the expansion done is going to take some time. So rather than assume we're going to get it done in 2 years or whatever that may be, this just allows us to go through that process. This is the floor plan of the building. This is typically a 4-bedroom, but this is kind of a custom build that they did for West Pierce that would be mirroring. That gives us 5 bedrooms. It also kind of just provides the amenities the firefighters are used to. It gives us the kitchen area, living space, day room, and the 5 bedrooms, of course. Financials, the cost of the structure is $161,690.82, which is what we seek approval for today. Our estimated installation cost is $94,930.83. Total cost $256,621.65. And then this also just allows us potential future uses. If there's other city projects, if we're in need of office space, what I think is probably most likely is we're able to surplus the structure when we're done with it, which will allow us to recoup some funds. But we'll also, as part of that process, have the purchaser take care of removal and transportation costs. And then another just thought was, it could be some kind of provided for low-income housing, possible donation to a low-income housing program. So those are just some of the ideas we had behind it. And then, today we asked to authorize the mayor to sign the purchase agreement with Champion Center Homes Center for T2 Fire Station temporary housing. And the agreement was recommended for approval by the Public Works Committee at their January 22, 2026 meeting.
Thank you, Chris. Any questions from council? Councilmember Jefferson,
I'd like to make the motion if there's no questions.
go forth.
I move that we authorize the mayor to sign the purchase agreement with Champion Center Homes Center for T2 Fire Station temporary housing.
Second.
A motion from Councilmember Jefferson, a second from Councilmember Sullivan. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to ask you all a favor. The agenda, we have committee reports, mayor, city administrator reports, council member reports. Would you feel comfortable just emailing your reports in and we go straight to executive session for 15 minutes and no voting will be taking place and the meeting will end after 15 minutes?
Yes.
Do we feel comfortable with that? And no more, okay, well, we don't need to vote on that, but yes. Okay.
No report.
Thank you. So if you have a report, if you could just email it, right? And then let's just go into executive session for 15 minutes. No business will be conducted. No voting will be conducted. The meeting will end in 15 minutes. This meeting, right? What am I saying? Am I just making that up, Karen? Thank you. The council will now meet in executive session to discuss real estate acquisition pursuant to RCW 42.30.110, parentheses 1, parentheses B. The council will be in executive session for 15 minutes. The council is not expected to take further action following the executive session.
And I will add that you'll be in there until 10:11 p.m.
Thank you so much, Melody. Hi, everyone. We are back from executive session. No action was taken. Meeting adjourned. Thank you so much.